Lounge Radio. With your hosts, Dark Sakura, Sky, and Loki.
This week, Nintendo rolled out an update adding more 8-player Smash-compatible levels, and for those of you looking to monetize them, there are guidelines for that as well. We have so much more for you tonight, including a new segment along with your calls, comments, and emails, all happening right now on the show, where every gamer has a voice.
Orange Lounge Radio.
Hello, my friends out there on the internet, and welcome back to another week of the show where every gamer has a voice. It is Orange Lounge Radio, live on this February the 1st, 2015, with the 585th episode of our program. My name is Rob Roberts, here with you over the next 3 hours or so to talk about video games, gaming culture, and the gamer lifestyle with my co-hosts. Say hello over there to Dark Sakura, or Jamie Summers.
Yo.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm okay.
Yeah?
Better than it was.
Yeah? I know. You and I were both talking before the show. We were both fighting off headaches. What's up with that?
Yeah, we were punching them in the face, but they were being bitches. And we had to put some bitches down.
I feel better now, thanks to Captain Ibuprofen. I feel a little better.
I feel better thanks to coffee and meat.
I feel better thanks to the power of positivity.
The power of song.
All right.
No.
Also, speaking of the power of song, say hello to Tech Master Loki.
Hello.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm very full.
Full, yeah. You
that sandwich was a maze.
You got a new place that you've never brought to the show before.
Yes.
And what's that?
A Firehouse Subs, I guess.
Yeah.
Is this called?
And
yes.
I had no idea that chain existed in California, because the first time I ever had that Firehouse Subs was at Dragon Con in Atlanta, and Travis Donovan, my pal from Understation Live, I'm sure y'all know him here at VOG, was losing his mind with Jenna, because I guess they didn't have those where he was from, or I don't know, but he was just very excited about the Firehouse. He's like, you gotta try it. So I had it, and it was, and I shouldn't say this because we're not paid to endorse this stuff, but whatever. It was pretty good, I gotta say. I still prefer Quiznos, rest in peace. That's my favorite sub sandwich.
They're not gone. I've got one that's still right around the corner.
I know,
from my house.
you lucky
the
punk.
only one
That's
in
the only one in all of Sacramento anymore.
Pretty much, yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know how they like. It's like seriously the worst location for that, but somehow they've survived.
I know. All right, so you found some new food to bring to the show. So
yes,
that's good.
because I got the same sandwich yesterday, and it was the. The beef brisket. Well, I had the intent because yesterday it was like, damn, I don't know if I want the meatball sub or if I want the brisket sandwich. I'm like, I always get the meatball sub whenever I go to some place just to try it.
I think everybody goes through that phase where you find that food you love so much, you're eating it for like a week. Like
I can't eat that for a week. There's no way. It's like so much. Like I got their large sandwiches like a foot long, and it's just packed full of meat. It's just like so much meat on there. I just can't. I can't eat more. I want to eat more, but I literally will get sick if I eat more.
Jamie, has there ever been a food that you discovered and then you had to eat it for like an entire week?
Yes.
What was that?
My favorite sick food? Burritos.
Just no specific burritos?
No, seriously. Well, it was. I used to be addicted to the California burritos that were basically the carne asada. But I wouldn't get like salsa or anything with it. Mm-hmm. It would be meat, potatoes, and cheese. And I ate it good. For almost a whole week in a row.
Wow.
Well, no, I mixed it up with breakfast burritos too, which was egg, potato, and cheese. But I had like this sick that would not go away, and all I wanted to eat was burritos. So I ate burritos for a week.
Awesome. I would say for me it was vanilla Coke. Was the thing that I had to have like every single day. It's like, why am I gaining all this weight?
They have that there, the Coke freestyle
I know.
machines.
I'm talking about. Remember when like it came out? It was probably like 2002,
I remember
2003.
That.
Remember?
It was just kind of.
Remember when I had pneumonia?
I do.
And all I ate for like a week and a half was French onion soup. Literally, that's all I had was French onion soup.
French onion soup.
Because I couldn't eat anything else. Like solid food was like no.
I would do that too. I'd go over to Panera and get French onion soup all the time.
Remember Mimi's Cafe before they got crappy?
I do, yes. And they did get crappy.
They had the 5 cheese grilled cheese with French onion soup. That was crack.
All right, people are going to think we're a podcast about food, and it is inevitable. We always get into food.
We're talking about food the whole show.
Is it called Orange Lounge Radio because you guys talk about oranges? Well, kind of. I mean, we never talk about anything that healthy, but yeah.
We should be the soup. We should do a spinoff called the Soup Lounge, where we just talk about food.
But we do have you guys who join us live every Sunday night at 6 o'clock Pacific, 9 o'clock Eastern at the Voice of Geeks Network, vognetwork.com. And if you are listening live over at live.vognetwork.com, you can head into our chat room there and comment along with the show. And we oftentimes are looking at the chat room during the show, and we pick some comments to read on air. We can't read every single line because then you guys would fill up the entire show with your conversation. But we do pick out some key comments. Right now, most folks in chat talking about sandwiches. I mean, I can't possibly imagine why. We have SSG 100 Matt who says Potbelly is the new Quiznos these days. It's actually pretty good. Let's see. Pow says, I felt that way when I discovered ramen for the first time.
I still feel that way about ramen. I just haven't eaten it because it's so much sodium.
Hold on. It was my first time living alone, so I obviously ran out of budget in 10 days. I got my first paycheck, so ramen the rest of the month. I got so sick of it. Yeah, idiot.
Get this.
What?
When I first moved to California, Dan's pantry was literally ramen and tomato soup. And I'm like, no.
So, okay, last food topic, I promise, and then we'll get into games. But the video game news is like super depressing this week, what we're going to start off with, so I'm putting it off intentionally. So, here's my question about ramen, because I think this is super weird, and this is something Alan does. He's going to kill me for saying it. But, like, he likes to just eat the ramen, like, without putting it in the water or anything like that.
Yeah,
just
what's
take
your
the
problem
break.
with that?
No!
They actually sell ramen
You gotta
snacks
put the
like
season
that.
packet on it. You just season it up, and you just kind of
No,
shake it a little bit,
no.
get it incorporated in there.
See, though-
and you have to break it apart first. So because if you can't just
Yeah,
eat
you
the
just
whole
don't
piece,
just put the whole
But-
brick in your mouth. But yeah.
See, I can't eat ramen like that anymore unless I make it myself, because I will actually break out I will do it donburi style.
You're not supposed to eat ramen like it's shredded wheat.
no, you don't. So
Cereal bowl.
you take the packaging, you put it on the counter, you slam your fist down on it, but not too hard because you don't want it to explode. You just want it to like shatter, and then you pour it into a bowl and put the seasoning over it, and away you go. It's awesome. It's especially if you don't want to wait for it to cook. But it's super salty.
Oh my gosh, no, thank you. It's just like that's too much sodium. It's like I have a heart
Exactly
attack.
why I don't eat ramen anymore.
All right, Guys, Judo in chat says just eat a rice cake.
But my other favorite thing to do with ramen was when we used to just like make like kind of, I don't know, a melting pot of all different types of ramen. Just like, oh, hey, we got some beef, we got some chicken, we got some pork, we got some shrimp or whatever. Just pour it all together, mix it together, done. It's some flavored of ramen.
See, the way to do it, you get just the noodles.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I prefer to do this with udon. You slice up a boiled egg. You put in you actually make your dashi stock from scratch, and it is the best thing on a cold day.
And then lastly, Alan Alchemy, since he was the inspiration for this in chat, says you pound it with your fist or just pinch the shit out of it and make bite-sized nuggets.
Exactly.
I don't use the spice packet though.
You know what? That was almost my food of choice while playing Final Fantasy 11. I used to do that. I'm surprised you don't remember that.
All right, I actually do remember that. All right. Thank you for bringing up a video game. We should take the topic to video games. But I'm going to be honest, guys. This has kind of been a shitty week in video games. There's been a lot of real bad news, and we'll get to some of it as we go on throughout the show and bring up the different topics. But I think there's one y'all are thinking about. Y'all been talking about on Twitter. Let's talk about it now. Let's talk about it here for our kickoff topic here. Jamie, some big news in the blogging world, right?
Some crap is what it is.
Yeah.
So AOL is a bunch of shits.
And that's the news.
That's the news. Okay, well, it's business. I can't say that the whole company is a bunch of shits, but it's a shitty decision. So Joystick has basically been dissolved by AOL, along with WoW Insider and Massively. There are layoffs of their staff. With Joystick, 13 staffers laid off. The Massively folks are going to be out of work by February 3rd. And WoW Insider has also lost their staff. So basically, 3 whole sections of video game joy on the internet, some of the last bastions of decent news, are gone. So,
As of February 3rd, which might as well be today.
Which I would say this. If you want to petition about something, fucking petition about that.
Mm-hmm.
If you show them that they're going to be losing a big source of revenue.
Mm-hmm. Well,
this is
Here's my concern, and I absolutely say this with no disrespect to these companies or the people that work there, because as much as I razz the big corporate blogs sometimes, and obviously AOL is going to be corporate when you're owned by AOL, I'm very much, and I've always been about support indie podcasting, support indie blogging, and this stuff that's homegrown. I always, I did have a place for Joystick and the AOL blogs in my heart. And part of that was because I felt like they were one of the rare blogs. And when I say they, I mean Joystick, WoW Insider, Massively, all of them. They were one of the rare blogs that really kind of treated a lot of what they saw in the indie scene, not just indie development games, but indie development publishing and podcasting and everything, as something that's like their equal. I never felt like poo-pooed by anybody that had worked at Joystick or any of these other organizations. I felt there was like there's a common respect and a common decency and sense of I guess decency there that I'm gonna be honest, keeping it real, I haven't felt from other places. I'm not gonna name names. I'm not gonna focus on negatives, but I all that stuff aside, I just kind of feel like there was a lot of real decent stuff happening at Joystick. And it kind of blows my mind. Obviously, one of the big hot button issues in last year's was ethics in games journalism. I'm not going to go too far down that slippery slope. But what concerns me here is that I see people celebrating the loss of these blogs, and I don't think there's anything to celebrate when these were some of the most ethical people that were still around in what they were doing. They don't run headlines that were clickbait like we see a lot of other sites do. I mean, you guys know what game blogs out there do this consistently, and you see it shared on Facebook. It's like, check out these 12 hot cosplays from such and such that are very only like tangentially related to video games.
I wish you guys could hear how hard I'm rolling my eyes.
Whereas Joystick wasn't really about that. And I always kind of, I really, really respected them for that. So I feel the pain of their loss. Now, to go to the part that I wanted to follow up to what Jamie was saying with, a big source of revenue and so forth, here's the hard question is, was it a big source of revenue? Because I'm not, as much as I liked reading it and I like supporting them and so forth, is there a lot of money to be made in that arena anymore? And I'm not so sure there is, especially when tons and tons of people are using ad block these days. Where was Joystick making money? Or a lot of these corporate blogs for crying out loud. And I think a lot of these things that tailor headlines that foster the Facebook shares and these clickbait articles and things like that, they get enough advertising revenue from the people maybe that don't use ad block or whatever. But unfortunately, these people who run their ships a little more ethically, like Joystick did, unfortunately, I think probably did end up costing money to run. And it sucks. Like, I mean, it's not an easy thing to say, but I think that's just the reality, you guys. How is Joystick making money? I'm not so sure that you weren't paying to access it. I bet a ton of you have ad blocker running. Did you whitelist Joystick?
Yeah.
I did too. But I bet there's a lot of people out there that didn't. And I'm not trying to like make you feel bad, but I think that's also just the reality of where we are. And
yeah, I think that's a lot. I mean, a lot of people just, a lot of websites you may block ads on, but I say, I mean, maybe unfortunately because they didn't go that route of like trying to be, clickbaity with your headlines, that they didn't get a lot of those shares or something on social media. Maybe that was the case.
Yeah. Let's see. Going to our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com. SHO100 Matt says, yep, if people clicked on more ads, maybe they would have a case in terms of revenue, but Joystick doesn't really sell anything. Let's see. RageNator says the one big site that I really read was oneup.com, but they bit the dust. Let's see. Dungeon Buster says, I drifted away from Joystick years ago, but not because of any ethics or issue with their reportage. Just so many other sites arrive later to satisfy my news needs. Well, and to be fair, there's a lot of, and I'm not accusing Joystick of this, but I'm saying there is a lot of out there in the games journalism world. There's a lot of copy-paste journalism that goes on out there, and I think there are a lot of places for people to get news. And thanks to things like Twitter and Facebook that keep us a little more tapped in, I think people get their news maybe a little more directly on social feeds where you don't necessarily even have to click over to a site like Joystick to see it. And I think all those little things kind of hurt them, collectively. And again, I so apologize if I don't think any of those staffers happen to listen to this show, but if you do, trust me, my heart goes out to you guys, and I'm so sorry if it sounds like I'm being a jerk right now. But
the fact that they ran a story about their site closing, they didn't even have an answer from
yeah, there's that shady shit too, where it's like, maybe they were making tons of money.
That's pretty nice to hear that your job's gone from somebody else other than, your boss.
That part's pretty shit. Yeah. But, I mean, here's the silver lining at the end. And maybe there will be another website that will pick up a lot of these writers, but I just really hope there's no pressure to make these writers make more clickbaity headlines. I really hope that isn't what it turns into, because I don't think that's what anybody wants to see happen here out of this is, it's got to be more TMZ style stuff in order to get clicks. I really hope that doesn't happen. But here's an interesting comment in our chat room again over at live.vognetwork.com. Apricot Sushi says, I think the fact we're seeing a lot of people turn to Patreon while big sites are getting cuts and going under says a lot. Well, I think it's inevitable, and I'm almost positive, and I could end up being proved wrong, but I'm almost positive at least the WoW Insider branch, you're going to see either a Patreon or a Kickstarter coming from those guys next week. Because in their goodbye note, they were like, you should follow us on Twitter, and on February 3rd, you never know what the future might hold. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like just put it on a neon sign already. And believe me, I'm not blaming those guys for doing it. If you're going to do this Patreon or a Kickstarter route, strike while the iron is hot. People are going to miss these sites when they're gone, and they're realizing that right now. So would people be willing to pay for these sites? I bet they would right now. The longer you go on, I think the harder it's going to be to justify, but especially something like World of Warcraft that has a very tight-knit community. Blizzard has a lot of very rabid fans that will support games that when Blizzard makes it, they'll play it, but if another company makes it, they won't play it. Consider what I'm talking about there with games like Heroes of the Storm and Overwatch, right? So there's a very loyal base there that I think will bolster up and support WoW Insider specifically, because that's kind of the one. Joystick hasn't really hinted if they're planning anything like that massively. I have no idea what they're planning either, but it seems like, especially with the WoW Insider branch, that's almost a given that that's what's going to happen next week, is that there's going to be a Patreon or a Kickstarter to keep them going. So hopefully they will get the money to keep their thing going. But how long? A year? 3 years? Who knows? So, anyway, I'm sad to hear about this loss again. Joystick was a blog that I would visit on a regular basis. I thought they were great, and even some of the few things that we've done on this show that went viral, quote unquote, like the whole, you guys remember years and years ago, there was a whole President Cat thing, and we had a good time here on OLR, and we were joking around about a Japanese game, Sukiban Socharen Wii, that was about a cat that was all these little different mini games, and Jamie said, I think it translates kind of loosely to President Cat, and I'm like, that's an awesome name for a game. Let's have President Cat on the Wii, and why don't we get games like this out here? And we started tweeting them, and the company noticed, right? Well, Joystick actually was like the first major blog to run a story on that, and I always thought that was like really cool. I was like, wow, they're like tapped into indie sources like that, Or
even before that, Katamari.
Yeah, and then so it wasn't just the good news, but the not so good news, right? Like the time that we posted some information that Namco didn't like that we posted, and that went viral too. But again, I mean, despite the fact that one was a little more painful for us, it was still that they were tuned into what was going on in the indie world, as well as the PR, the things that they were getting handed from PR, right. Which I wouldn't be surprised if some of the Joystick people end up in those positions where they're, doing PR and other types of, on the other side of it for companies, big companies. So let's see, going again for some more comments from our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com. Let's see. Dungeon Buster says, specialist sites have also added to the competition. If I want pure industry news, I can go to places like Develop or GameBiz. Pow says, I stopped going to any gaming site. I just can't take the comments. They make me lose faith on the human race. So, well, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of articles at vognetwork.com. I mean, we can't. Right now, we're not at a stage where we can afford to pay people to do articles, but if people want practice or resume type stuff, we're always looking for people to write stuff. And so we do have some people that write some things very limited. If we do ever turn a profit, I'd be happy to pay writers. We get some of that coming on vognetwork.com. We moderate comments, all of them. So, and obviously our site is is family enough where that's not really a problem for us yet. But you never know what's going to go viral. You just never know what's going to go viral. And then once it goes viral, then everybody's got something to say. So,
you know what the real stem of the problem is?
What's that?
It's too many of those free month subscriptions to AOL. It just hurt them so much that they just can't.
Those fortresses built out of the free discs,
Exactly.
the free sample discs, just did them in. Oh, boy. All right. Anyhow, so having a drink, throwing one back for our friends over at AOL, Joystick, WoW Insider, and Massively. May y'all land, and I should say, because it's not picked up in any of the game blogs, but there's another AOL blog that I read quite frequently, the unofficial Apple web blog, TUAW, that was also impacted by this, and they're getting shuttered. So pouring out a 40 to all those fine blogs over at AOL. And may y'all land on your feet real soon. At least y'all have the respect of a lot of people in the industry. And so I think with that on your resume and considering the situations, I think y'all are going to bounce back real quick. I really hope so. And hey, you won't be working for AOL anymore. Thumbs up. Trying to look for the silver lining. All right, let's get into some of the regular segments we do here at Orange Lounge Radio, and then we'll get into some other news going on this week. But yeah, not a lot of great news this week, guys. I don't know. Anyway, let's try to cheer things up a little bit with the games themselves. You know, sometimes we play video games to put us in a better mood, and talk about the games that we've been playing this week with how was your gaming week? Dark Sakura, how was your gaming week?
I really didn't play too much. I did some Dragon Age, but other than that, no, I did play some Final Fantasy 14 for a little bit on Monday. But really, I haven't really done much else in terms of gaming just because it's been a really stupidly busy week. That, and I did buy somebody in this little group of ours a game that I am going to request that he play as soon as he gets a chance to. I will not say what it is until said person is ready to announce it.
Well, doesn't he have to finish the previous one?
No. He needs to go right into the second one.
Yeah.
Because, okay, I'll just fucking say it. I bought Rob Five Nights at Freddy's 2, and he's got to play it. I don't care if he's finished the first one. He has to play it.
Yeah.
Because the third one's coming out.
Yeah, I did see that in my Steam library. I have to do the VOG Jam stream first, which is still something, or the YouTubes. I'm not going to end up doing a live stream anymore because all the games run in different resolutions and things, so I'm going to just make a variety of YouTubes. But until I finish that project, no live streams. So, but that will be on the list. Hopefully I can get Shane to come over, or maybe you to come over, and you guys can taunt me a little bit while I play. I'm sure it'll be a hoot and a holler. Just in time for Five Nights at Freddy's 3. Which I'm sure is coming out very soon.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish that would become a movie series. Because
it might.
I think it could. I think it should, honestly, because it's such a simple premise. And, you know, I mean, hell, they're remaking, like, really shitty movies now. Yeah. So why not just do one of those?
It's starting to become a Minecraft level phenomenon. I mean, maybe not that big because it's going to be harder to market it towards kids. I think it's you can't just compare A to B, but it is definitely like a phenomenon in the style of Minecraft. I think there's so much like lore and all this other stuff that people are
That's the part I like about it. I can't play the games for shit, but
yeah,
I watch the videos and read the crap about it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And that, and going back and reading like the actual case that they theorized it was based off of.
Yeah,
it was. That creeped me out.
Just
the fact that the original thing happened with that. What was it? A Chuck E. Cheese or something?
Yeah. A Showbiz Pizza, I think.
Yeah, it was a Showbiz
back in the day.
Same Pizza Time Theater.
Yeah. All right, so if that's it for your gaming week,
thank you, Nolan Bushnell.
Loki, how was your gaming week?
I didn't play a whole ton. I was actually working on my game most of the week, and I'm trying to get to the point where I can just like play a level, and then once I get that. I can actually just start building levels for it. So I have the starting sequence part done and for each level, and then I was just working on the finishing thing. The problem is my logo they did in 3D for like the end part when you finish a race. It didn't look very good, just shot straight on because it's black and white, so it looked 2D almost. So I needed kind of spinning towards the camera to make it look cooler. So I'm working on that, and then my cat decides to start programming last night, and so she sat down on my laptop and did a find replace on all of my scripts in my game, and so I had to fix that. Thankfully, that was pretty quick to fix, and it's just she's so jealous. I swear to God, it's like you're not paying attention to me all the time. What the hell? So I did that, and then actual game playing, I played more of Lego Marvel Superhero just because my son's playing it. I'm already finished the game, so there's not really much more I need to do with it, other than I was just messing around with some of the glitches in the game and stuff. So that was fun. And what else? Oh, watch some more awesome games done quick. I watched the run for I Want to Be the Boshi and New Super Mario Brothers and New Super Mario Bros. Wii. What else? Part of the Portal 2 run, but I fell asleep, so oh well. But I'm really digging that stuff. I do want to play some more Gat Out of Hell. I just haven't gotten around to it. And I don't know. I've been looking at my PlayStation Network library. I'm like, crap, man. I've got a lot of stuff that I haven't touched on there yet. I bought Battlefield 4 a while ago. I'm like, shit, I haven't even played that. And then my stack of games that I bought when I got the system, I'm like, shit, I still haven't even played Watch Dogs or Destiny yet, and it's just sitting in the case, just collecting dust. So I've got a lot of stuff to play after I finish my game.
All right.
And then my other game.
Good priorities. My gaming week. I've had a pretty active gaming week, although not a lot of new stuff to note. Since not a lot of new stuff has been coming out, but was continuing to play Fantasy Life earlier this week, and I've been having fun with that. I started to get into some of the crafting a little bit since I was doing a wizard for my life in the beginning. I was like, oh, let me try going into, I think they call it tailor, cloth crafting, whatever. I think it's a tailor, to see if I can maybe make myself some armor. So, I was kind of playing a little bit of that story, and now I'm like, oh, maybe I should get into gathering, and I can totally see where this is like a gamer ADD like me guy's worst nightmare, because then it's like, oh, I want to play a little bit of this. Oh, but then I want to play a little bit of this because I always see these little mine things everywhere. I want to mine those. Oh, and I want to fish, and I got to do this. And I'm never going to get anywhere in that game because I'm going to keep getting distracted by all these different things there is to do. Dude, level 5 is really good at making grind fests. They are very, very good at making grind fests. And but Fantasy Life is good. I talked about that last week, and I'm having fun with that game. Let's see. So was playing a little bit of that. A lot of Diablo 3 on PC. With the season is ending on Tuesday. So Alan has actually been very helpful. He's been playing a lot more than me. He's going to hit Paragon 300 tonight on his seasonal character. 300 Paragon levels. He was at 296 or something before the show, so he'll definitely hit that tonight. I'm at maybe 150. I mean, I've been playing a lot, but not a lot. But I've been having fun, and Alan helped me get some achievements. We finally we killed this guy on Torment 6 you have to get an achievement. It's like this complicated thing where you have to build all these keys and then you summon the boss. And we did that. We got to Greater Rift level 30, which I didn't think I'd be able to see on my wizard, but by golly, we did it and got a new place on the scoreboard. So that was all really exciting. So that was seasonal on PC. I haven't been playing as much on PlayStation 4, but a friend of mine picked it up on PS4, and I know I have other friends that play on there. So probably what I'll do in the downtime between seasons on PC, I'm probably going to try to pick up PS4 because it is still one of my goals this year to get my Platinum Trophy in Diablo, dang it. So that's something I will certainly work on. So, I played a little bit of that as well. So yeah, kind of a lot of the same stuff. I'm some Final Fantasy 14 here and there a little bit. I did some Geometry Wars 3 earlier today, but not a lot of new stuff to note. One other thing I will mention, Princess Irene, who was on the show a few weeks ago, she does her other show, the Multi-Tap Podcast. She was here promoting that. She called me up the other day and was like, let's go play DDR. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's been forever. Why not? Let's go play DDR, like old school times. So we actually went out to Roseville Golfland, which really is where this show was born, despite the sad commentary that...
Born? You mean spawned from the pits?
Yes. Despite where, despite the state of arcades today and the fact that it's all ticket grabbing machines now. I did see some pretty cool arcade cabinets, though. They had a Mario Kart Deluxe. I did not know there was now a Mario Kart Deluxe cabinet, and it looked fancy. I didn't get a chance to play it because there was just kids nonstop going through that game, but it looked really fun.
It's sad, though. It's the Mario Kart tracks on the arcade games are so, blah. It's just like
Yeah.
It's like ooh.
Well,
it's a
yeah,
loop.
They were in the early games. I don't know about Deluxe though. I haven't played Deluxe yet, so
At least I
withholding
can only
my
speak
judgment.
for the first couple.
Yeah. But I was like, wow, those are some fancy looking cabs. So we played a little bit of DDR, so that was fun. We were playing some Max 2 for you old school DDR fans, but man, when you don't play DDR for a long time, you really lose stamina, okay? So like Irene and I were like, all right, we'll do some standard and some basic songs, Redfoot and Yellowfoot songs. And we were doing okay on that. So then for the last song, I was like, okay, we got to try and do something on Maniac. Let's do something on Maniac. So I put it on the hardest difficulty, Green Feet, right? And I was like, let's do Blow My Whistle, baby. Everybody remembers that song, right? If you've ever walked by a DDR Max 2 machine, you've heard that beep, 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 beep. Beep, 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 beep. You've heard this song before, right? It's really annoying and awesome to play. But it's only like a 7-foot song, so it won't be that hard, right? Oh my God. Because a 7-footer is usually like non-stop running and jumping and all that stuff. Like at the end of it, I was like having a full-on asthma attack.
Yeah, I know. I remember even just trying like basic stuff in the last time I went and played.
I need to get my stamina back.
I'm so out of shape.
I need to get my stamina back. And then for the very, very, very last song, Irene and I said, okay, this is the last song we're going to do all day. This is fine. So I was like, all right, fuck it. Let's do another Maniac song. And she put it on Orion 7.8, which is the, like... I'd cue up the MP3 of... I love it when you sing DDR songs, Loki. But that's honestly what it sounds like. But I will never. Okay, so the pattern that you dance to in the song, do 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 do. That's how fast your feet are moving. And then do jump 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 jump. Like that's how fast your feet are moving, right? So I did that one on 9-footer, and I'm very proud because my 36-year-old ass got a 300 combo, and I damn near full comboed the whole song. I fucked up in the last 6 measures, though. Like, there's just too much going on at the end. But I was so close to a full combo, and I was like, this old guy still got it. So that felt pretty good to be able to do that. It has kind of motivated me a little bit to try and get my stamina back a little bit. So I need to, like, do one of those, like, couch to 5K type things or something. Just something to get me in the habit of moving.
Couch to 9 feet.
What do they call that?
It's couch to 5K.
Is that what? Okay.
But it should be. We should do a.
Couch to 9 foot.
Couch to 9 feet.
I get it now. Yeah. I really do want to do something like that. I was never skinnier in my life than the years I played DDR. Of course, it helped that I was dating a vegan who really loved to cook, and so like.
Well, now too, like
don't eat.
I don't even know, like the newer machines, like they don't even have the same foot levels anymore. I'm like, I don't understand, what these levels are anymore.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, it was a Max 2 machine. I can speak Max 2.
Yeah, Max 2, maybe Extreme.
That was back from my day.
Extreme, it's like kind of
Yeah. So anyway, and then Alan Alchemy's in chat reminding me of something else we saw over at Roseau Golfland. A fucking Candy Crush arcade game. They had a fucking Flappy Bird and a Candy Crush. Like, all these fucking iPhone games are becoming arcade games that shoot out tickets.
Why would you play a game that's free but instead pay money?
Because you get tickets, and you can redeem those tickets for crap. I'm surprised the tickets don't get you codes to get something in the game on your iPhone.
The give Flappy
just
Bird.
Just to give it full circle. Why not? Gives you, what is it, like little gumdrop bombs or whatever the fuck they are in Candy Crush. You can trade in tickets and get a code for some of those on iTunes or Google Play or whatever. I wouldn't be surprised at all if that was a thing. They bring it full circle. All right, anyway, that was my gaming week. Very long-winded, but, a little trip to the arcades and all that good stuff. Before we get into tonight's gaming news, some quick housekeeping. We will be here throughout the coming weeks. No shows off planned yet, except maybe in early March. That's still developing. However, you can always friend us on Facebook, facebook.com/orangeloungeradio. You can also friend us on Twitter, twitter.com/OLR. And we are going to be debuting a new segment tonight, as Jason mentioned in the intro. I'll tell you more about that at the beginning of Part B is where we're going to put it, right before we get into rapid fire news. I'll talk to you more about that when we get there. We're going to try something new based on some things you guys said last week, believe it or not. This is an interactive show, and just because we've been doing it for coming up on 13 years this June doesn't mean we can't change things once in a while when the listeners give good ideas and suggestions and feedback. So we'll talk about that at the beginning of Part B. Meanwhile, let's get into some gaming news. Lots of other stuff going on in the world. We're going to start off. I have a feeling we're going to get into it. Here we go. Loki starting us off with some gaming news.
So Nintendo has graciously allowed people to use their content and collect ad revenue from it on YouTube. That's so awesome. So nice of them. Except there's some little asterisks that you need to be aware of. First off, this would be through their brand new affiliate program, the Nintendo Creators Program. So when you sign up with them, you can basically register whole channels or certain videos. And basically, if you do just an individual video, you will be offered 60% of the ad revenue. And if for a whole channel, 70% of the ad revenue. And they are basically paying you via PayPal. So they're collecting all the ad revenue and then paying you on the back end for that. And I guess they'll allow you to use their videos and make money off them. I think it's crap.
And why do you think it's crap?
The reason I think it's crap is because you make so little from ad revenues anyways. In fact, a good explanation for this was Total Biscuit actually did a breakdown about this and why this was a bad thing. And basically breaking down that, say you make $100 on a video for ad revenue, and at the end, after you're done paying, the fees for YouTube, from PayPal, from what Nintendo takes out, for every $100 that you're actually making in ad revenue, you're actually only collecting $22 of that. And so it's crap. Honestly, I think this type of thing is not a good thing, considering that, you had some companies like Microsoft that were kind of, we don't want you using our properties for making, money off of them, basically, just making any sort of monetization. But then they went ahead and reversed their stance on that. And I think that that's kind of the way that the company should be. Honestly, cool. If you want to participate in this, go right ahead. But if I had the time to make, more videos and stuff that had to do with, gameplay and stuff like that, I would not be choosing Nintendo products. There's plenty of other games out there rather than Nintendo games that I could be playing. I've got a whole fucking Steam backlog that, a testament to that. I don't need to have the privilege of paying them money to show their game online. That's so fucking backwards. This is the kind of shit that gets you into the mess that you're in right now, where your first-party games are the only thing supporting that damn system. So, I don't know.
I've had a lot of time to think about this topic, and I'm about to say some things that might actually contradict things I've said 10, 15 episodes ago when, this topic first came up. And opinions sometimes change, they shift and so forth. But this is where my head is currently at with this stuff, is that there are some things I agree with you on, Loki. Fundamentally, though, I believe Nintendo deserves a cut. I do, and that might surprise some people to hear that, but I fully believe that Nintendo deserves a cut of the money. And I think the best example I would have for this is something like Mystery Science Theater 3000, where if they are going to be skewing a movie and interjecting their own dialogue and so forth, they still have to secure the rights for that movie and give a cut or pay a one-time fee or something from the original movie maker, unless the movie's 75, 50 years old and it's considered the public domain at that point, which I think has happened with some of the movies they've done in the past. But I digress. I know a lot of Let's Players say that, people don't watch it for the games, they watch it for the commentary or the opinions or things like that. Well, if that's the case, try putting your commentary or opinion out there without the game and see how well that does. I do think the games do play an integral part, and these things would not exist without the game. That being said, I think the method this is all being done is a little screwy, and I can agree with that. I totally get the concept where it's stupid that YouTube takes a cut and PayPal takes a cut, and then like this, that's all a little bit ridiculous, and I get that. It's everybody's taking a piece off the top. Here's where I think the problem ultimately lies, and I think you've got the Let's Players pointing fingers at Nintendo. You've got Nintendo pointing fingers at the Let's Players. Do you know where the real fucking problem is? The problem is YouTube. And I've been saying this forever. That's the one message that I think I have been consistent on from the very beginning. The problem is YouTube. But they are such a behemoth that nobody is making them do anything about it. And that's what blows my mind. In my opinion, YouTube should have an established standard for this shit and be done with it already. But YouTube also needs to have some type of appeal system for their users, as well as the companies that, want to contest things that are being used outside of copyright law that are on, the service and so forth. YouTube is a giant fucking brainless robot.
Well, not only that, but they're going to continue content ID matching stuff, and you basically have to get approval before you're able to make money off those videos. So, like, say, for example, you do a review series and you're reviewing a Nintendo game or something like that, then they could just say, oh, we're not going to approve your video. If, say, you're critical on a certain Nintendo game, theoretically they could just say, no, we're not going to approve your video. I mean, I understand that that's a little extreme, but as I'll talk about later on in the show, it may not be that out of the norm, considering what some, how people are kind of manipulating the system to get what they want.
And there is a certain amount of fair use that, needs to be allotted so that you can have these reviews and you can have these critical opinions and so forth. But when people have like 90-minute long Let's Plays where it's just, we're making jokes along with this game that we're playing along in the background, I'm not so sure that meets the guidelines of fair use.
Well,
but YouTube needs to come out and say, it is X. The line is drawn here. So that way, at least, everybody's playing by the same rules.
Well, I understand, like, Let's Plays, but let's say, for example, you're doing, like, a news show or something like that on, YouTube, and you're talking about the news, and a Nintendo story, like, comes up, like, oh, Nintendo announced that such and such game's coming out, and you're talking about that, and you have, part of the trailer playing in the background, and they monetize that video.
And that's, in my opinion, that's a YouTube problem. YouTube should not be allowing, that is fair use, and YouTube should not be allowing that to be contested because a robot fucking matched that. That's the problem. And I told, that's fair use. If you're doing a news thing and you show an incidental Nintendo thing, absolutely that should be the news thing. But here's the other side of that, is that I also think there should be, and this should be something that maybe Nintendo should kind of step up, there should be kind of like a certain threshold, like, if you're making less than $100 a year on YouTube videos, which is where a lot of people are at, a lot of people are at that line. If you're making like less than $100 a year on YouTube videos, I kind of don't think this should apply to you. And I think, I understand the need for consistency and so forth, but if Nintendo wants to be good guy Nintendo, then draw a line. But I'm sorry, I do have a lot of problems feeling sympathy for these people that make millions of dollars. Somebody like PewDiePie makes millions of dollars off these Let's Plays and so forth. And, they're complaining about, we're going to get, some of this money and it's all this whole asinine system, whatever. Nintendo wants a cut of the money, blah, 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 blah. I'm sorry, I have a little problem feeling that much sympathy for you when then XYZ gaming company just had to lay off 200 people this week. And we're going to hear an incident of that a little later on in the show.
Here's the reason why they have that kind of attitude is because they're fucking having PewDiePie fucking quoted, like box quoted on a fucking advertisement in stores. Like they showed that for, I don't even remember what fucking game it was, but they had a PewDiePie quote on it. I think it was for Dying Light. That's why he's got a big head about this shit, is because he's fucking getting quoted as part of marketing for these games. So, yeah, I mean, he's a major channel, and the fact that he's saying that I'm not going to cover Nintendo products, unless I feel like playing one of their games, then that's fine. He has the right to do that. But at the same time, that's also kind of his thought is that, and I don't want to defend him because, personally, I don't like the guy, but I find him irritating.
I've seen 60 seconds of a video of his one time, and that's it. But I'm not naive enough to think he's not a big player.
No, I understand that. And it could be a personality plays on YouTube, whatever. That's fine. I just don't like his videos, but I'm not faulting him for it per se, but I'm just saying that, it's up to his thought is that he's helping market these games and that they should be thankful that he is, playing their products because he's in the past driven, like, for example, they, in his Tumblr, he cited, like Skate 3. He showed them playing Skate 3. All of a sudden, that game shot back up through the charts, even though it had been out for a while. That type of thing. So, he's got a sort of a point, but at the same time, I mean, you shouldn't feel entitled by that. But I just think they're going about it the wrong way. I think you want people to be making like fan videos for it, and so what if they're making some money off of ad revenue? I mean, are you really that hard up for money that you need to be making pennies off of these videos? I mean,
it's not pennies though, Loki.
For some people, it's not pennies, but it's ad revenue though. It's not. If they want to put out creative videos and charge ad revenue for it, then by all means, Nintendo, you make some new original content out there, like Let's Plays. Hell, just hire some of your Treehouse people or something to do some like interesting videos and start monetizing that shit if that's what you want to collect money on. But I
would actually agree that Nintendo can make a lot of money doing in-house productions of this stuff. But I also think, it's not, that's why I talk about the threshold. When we are talking about pennies, then maybe Nintendo should just write it off, good guy Nintendo, right? But when we're talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars, which is what we're talking about with people like PewDiePie, I think it's totally okay. That's 10 people's jobs for the year. But it's not taking
money out of their pockets. It's taking no money out of their pockets. It's just like, we feel we should be getting paid some more money. And that's all it really is. I think, if anything, you should be putting as few barriers between you and the people that want to, expose your game to others or like play up the game. I mean, if you're just putting that barrier out there and saying, okay, well, you could do this, but you're going to have to jump through all these hoops in order to be getting paid, for monetizing these videos. Fuck it. I wouldn't do it. I would just play something else.
I understand the concept of it doesn't hurt them and so forth, and the free advertising and so forth, but you have to understand there's another layer. This is something that somebody said to me this week about a particular game. As I was telling this individual, you should check out this game. I know it gets a lot of mixed reviews, and some people say good things about it, some people say not so good things about it, but I kind of think this game is up your alley. You should check it out. And the person said to me, isn't that one of those games that's about 3 hours to beat? And I said, yeah, it's only about 3 hours to beat. And they said, I'll just look up a Let's Play of it on YouTube and I'll just watch it on YouTube. That way I don't have to spend the money and buy it. That was something that was said to me. I am not making it up. I might be summarizing some quotes and things, but essentially that is the gist of the conversation.
Well, then that's a problem. That
happens.
That's a problem then with the game designer, if that your game is basically good for one playthrough and that's it, and there is no replayability to it, then yes, I don't think you should spend the money on that. If, for example, a perfect example of that is that fucking Metal Gear Solid, Ground Zeroes bullshit that they put out. They charge, like $30 for it, and it's like a 4-hour game. There's not much replayability there, so I'm not going to spend my money on it. So I see that exactly. If like, say, for example, a Call of Duty campaign, if you're looking at like the single-player version of Call of Duty, and you just want to know what the story is and say, fuck it, I wouldn't purchase the game if you're only going to get one playthrough out of it.
What if I told you this game was a $10 indie game?
Same problem, though. If it's 3 hours long and you're paying $10 for it.
So it costs $15 to go see a movie. Can I take a 3-hour movie and just put it on YouTube?
No, you cannot. But there's some interactivity.
There's a problem there.
Well, then I'm sure that they can just monetize or do a copyright claim on it if that's the problem. If they have such a problem with people putting if their 3-hour game on YouTube, then do a copyright claim against it, since they can do that for the movie. Mm-hmm. I'm assuming if that's the problem, if they don't want the exposure of their short game on YouTube, then they have the rights to make a claim against it.
All right, let me read some comments from chat. I don't mean to ignore folks in chat. And Jamie, I have no idea if you even have a thought on this, or if you're just kind of like, there's no answer to this problem. I don't know, Jamie. Your thought.
I'm always like, I like free money. I like playing Nintendo.
I'm just telling you personally, if I have, whenever I finish a game someday, I don't fucking care. As more exposure I get, it's better for me. You making money off? If you're making hundreds of $1,000s off it, yeah, I'm a little jealous, but good for you. I mean, who cares?
I think that indie developers should have their own licensed Let's Play channels.
I honestly think if like Twitch, I almost said Justin TV, if Twitch TV could come out and just be like, we have signed agreements with Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft on the rules for Let's Plays, and we're going to introduce Twitch on demand, and you can record these Let's Plays, and we'll interject ads into it, and you're going to get 75% and they get 25%. I don't know, I'm making these numbers up. If they were to roll that out like this week, and we have signed agreements with these big 3 huge industry standard players, and we have these signed agreements that this is how it's going to be, that would stab YouTube in the fucking heart. It would. And now it's game fucking on.
Once again, it's is the fewer barriers you have between your consumer and their money, basically, making money off these videos, the better it will be. If it's easier for me to make money off of Twitch than it is YouTube, then of course I'm going to go to Twitch.
All right, I got to do some chat room comments because it is a show where every gamer has a voice. Sadly, I can't read everything, but let me get to some comments here. SHO and Hunter Matt saying, it's not about the amount of money. It's about drawing a line and people profiting off your products. If they don't draw it now, then there will be a point that someone will make millions and millions off their game, and the creator's not seeing any of that. Pow in our chat room at live.vognetwork.com says, also, it's a cultural thing. I like this because it makes you consider something different. It's a cultural thing. Japanese corporations are fighting a lot to stop the, quote, let's watch the ending on YouTube thing. Now that Pow says that, it actually makes me think Sony does this too. You just don't hear about it as much, but developers can block sections of games from being recorded. Remember that? When they do the recording on PS4, sections of games can be blocked. So that way the endings of games can't be posted as easily to YouTube.
That's just like telling the ending to a movie. Who gives a shit? I'm sorry. I don't buy that as an excuse.
I kind of agree to a point that you can't stop it, but they can make it harder. Let's see. Dungeon Buster says, YouTube dug themselves into this hole in flying by the seat of their copyright pants for so long. Let's see. Kai Judo in chat says, I disagree. Video games are not movies. It's different. Tiger Claw says, this is affecting Giant Bomb as well. You'll have to watch videos of their Nintendo coverage on their site. Well, what's interesting about that solution is it's removing YouTube, which I have said is the problem. It's removing YouTube from the equation, which, considering that most of the stuff I think Giant Bomb does is, and I don't visit that site every day, so you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, most of the cases where they're using this are going to be the review and news type. They don't do a lot of extended Let's Plays, right?
I don't think so.
They might, but if they do, and I'm just not aware of it, keep in mind Nintendo would have every right to step in and say, you need to remove it, or we're not going to give you these games if you don't. I mean, they would have the right to play hardball. I mean, I realize that could have ramifications, but that could be an alley we go down if that happens. Marissa Congusto in chat at live.vognetwork.com says, still have to pay when you sample a song. I don't think it should matter if the profit is negligible, but after that, I see the point. So, and Pow in chat says, people go to jail in Japan for posting a single anime episode. It's not different with games.
It is different because there's an interactive element to games, whereas an anime episode there is not. If you post a video of a game online, it's not the same as playing a game. Whereas if you post a movie online, it's the same as watching the movie because you're watching it on the internet versus watching it in a theater.
I'm with you to a point. I mean, obviously, I don't think anybody should go to jail over a Let's Play. But I think the Let's Play simply would not exist without the game makers. They had a hand in creating the content, too. It's a shared thing. And if somebody were to step in and say, Rob, those Let's Plays that you've done of the classic games from 25 years ago, the Commodore Company or whoever wants a cut, I'd be like, all right, they're going to get 5 cents, but sure.
Nintendo's in a good spot right now because their games are quality. And they make some really awesome games. But they're not the only ones that make really awesome games out there. And I got to be honest, this whole indie resurgence thing, there's a lot of great, good indie games. And you know what? Those indie guys don't give a fuck about you monetizing their videos. And so what's going to come down to eventually is that those people are just going to be like, oh, hey, you're going to put barriers in front of me to play these games. Well, I'm just going to play these games right here instead is what's going to come down to. And it'll be great for the indie guys.
To be fair, though, just, not all indie guys. I seem to recall Phil Fish, which I realize is a controversial figure, but I seem to recall he's made his opinion very clear.
That he is in the minority, thankfully, and, well, he's got his own set of issues, but that's neither here nor there, so... But for the majority, I think that people are pretty, open to the idea of you playing stuff. And remember, there's that whole, let's play list of like all the publishers and stuff that are okay with you doing that. So
I think I think it's a bummer. There's not a standard. I feel like there should just be a freaking standard already. But as somebody who has done Let's Plays and puts things on YouTube and decides, am I going to monetize this or not? I love that as a resource. I do love that as a resource. And when I do a Nintendo game, I just don't monetize it. But I'm also I'm not in a position. I have yet to see a check from YouTube, and I've got a long way to go. I just don't have that type of volume, so it's not really something I think about. But I like to think that if I were in a position where I'm making $1,000 a month even off YouTube videos, then I'd be like, all right, well, if the companies want their 25, 30% per video, even 50% really per video, then I guess they could be entitled to that. But I don't think they should be entitled to 100%, because I do think the creator of the Let's Play does share in that with the people that made the game. So the answer is somewhere in the 50-50 range, somewhere in there. Anyway, that's our thoughts on this. We could go on for 3 hours and fill on this topic alone. I'm sure you guys have some strong opinions about this. We welcome emails. Participate at orangeloungeradio.com is the place to send emails. We'll probably be continuing the discussion on this on our forums a little bit this week as well, which you can access at forums.vognetwork.com. But for now, lots of other stuff going on in the news, so we're going to get to some other news, which includes, speaking of Nintendo, there were some updates to Super Smash Bros. This week. And this is pretty cool because this is a pretty big update for a company that hasn't done a lot of content patches for their games, really. They've been behind a little bit in that. So this is really cool to hear that Super Smash Bros. Got 15 new 8-player stages in a free update. So 15 modified 8-player stages were added to Super Smash Bros. Wii U this week, and you just get it in a patch that you download, and you're going to get new stages like Pokemon Stadium 2, Wii Fit Studio, Luigi's Mansion, all these new levels for 8 people to brawl in. So that's pretty cool. I guess 8-player mode must be doing very well for them to add all these stages. I bet this thing is a riot at conventions and anime conventions and gaming conventions.
Or my house.
Or your house. See, I haven't had enough people over here to play 8-player Smash. I mean, we'll do computer characters, but I bet if you actually have 8 people there playing, I bet it's a riot.
It's chaos.
Is it really?
It's great.
Oh, man. You have to have a huge TV to be able to see that, though.
Well, this is in my living room.
Yeah, you guys have pretty decent-sized TVs.
I think we have
the one here is too small.
50-something inch.
Yeah, see, that probably works.
Dan wants us to get a 72-inch. That would be perfect for Smash.
You need to be like those people I was seeing online that was projecting the football thingy-mabob today on like a huge screen in their backyard. That's what you need for Smash Brothers.
Lord, no.
You don't want the whole neighborhood to be able to see?
I want Meta Knight to be the size of my head.
All right, well, anyhow, some other interesting little kind of, this could have been a thing in Super Smash Brothers. I guess through some discovery, I don't know what this was, like if they had actually gone into the game
files.
What was it, disk files?
They were poking through files on the disk.
Well, apparently, Rhythm Heaven was going to have a character in the game, which actually makes a lot of sense now that we think about it. Also, a stage based on Dr. Mario was going to be included, which, again, makes a lot of sense. Now, I would think that DLC would be a great way to, especially, there's a new Rhythm Heaven game coming out for Wii U at some point. Wouldn't that be a great tie-in to then have the character in Smash Brothers as DLC? Of course, I know Sakurai has said there's no plans for DLC, but come on. You want to talk about ways Nintendo can make more money? Here's one of them.
There's no plans for DLC.
Well, I know. He has said there's no.
They already have a DLC character.
Beyond Mewtwo. Beyond Mewtwo. So that's like the one. But I can't see how it could just be one. I don't get it. So anyhow, it could have been. It could have been a thing. Dark Sakura.
Well, what's the saying, hackers gonna hack?
Indeed.
Well, they have found an exploit in the new 3DS that lets you run Game Boy Color ROMs. Yep, it was only a matter of time. Basically, it's something that you can do to sideload Game Boy Color ROMs. It's a trick put out by a YouTube user named Kazowar, Kazowar, who basically used an emulation meant for virtual console games to load the ROMs instead. So his guide says that it relies on a buffer overflow error that's currently in the web browser. So if you load it with specific timing, you can get you can replace a Game Boy Color game with a ROM on an SD card or something stored online. So of course, it works with the last release 9.4, but we're probably going to see it patched out before too long. So
yeah, I'm sure Nintendo will be patching that right up. But
laugh it up, kids.
In the meantime, Pokemon Yellow for all, hooray!
Yeah, or some of the classics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think Pokemon's like the one game people really want to see on Virtual Console that just isn't coming to Virtual Console. Why put it on Virtual Console when you can remake it? And I don't know. I actually don't know why those games don't really show up on Virtual Console.
I think you just nailed it.
Pokemon Pinball did on Wii U because I picked that one up. But yeah, the Pokemon games themselves don't really end up on Virtual Console.
You need something that's going to use the little accelerometer thing in the so.
Well, I think you said it. Hacker's going to hack, and if there's a way for people to play free games, on their device, that's what they're going to do. Just throwing it out there though. Not that I'm excusing it because the piracy, that's not supposed to happen. That's very bad. But Nintendo could combat that a little bit if Virtual Console were a little more lucrative than just straight up emulation. You know what I mean? Like being able to play it online with my friends, which granted could still be considered emulation, but hear me out here. If there was a little more to enrich the pot of Virtual Console, it would make those options look a lot more attractive and piracy look like the gutter option. Yeah, it would look like, this is the low class option, whereas if I pay the premium, I'm going to get all these other cool features like maybe multiple save states or maybe high definition textures or remastered sound, or I don't know. There's a lot of things that they could do. 3D effects, which very, very few the 3DS Virtual Console things have, and they're usually considered separate releases and not a part of the Virtual Console family. But I've been saying that forever, that Virtual Console could really stand to sweeten the pot. Ooh, achievements would be another. I know Nintendo doesn't have a centralized achievement system, but they could easily create one.
They could get on that.
I'm sure they will with the next 2 or 3 consoles from now that they create.
Make it, just put it in the freaking Mario universe. Call it coins. You unlocked a coin. And have the coins be usable to like buy backgrounds on the Wii U or 3DS or something. Even though I guess people are willing to pay real money for the backgrounds, so they don't need fake coins. I don't know. Anyway,
how about an award?
Yeah, award or certificate. I don't know, anything. It's just my silly thought. How to make Virtual Console a lot more lucrative and convince people to buy games all over again. But maybe you're right. They're saving that for the Wii U 2 or whatever the next console is, because that's how they'll get you to pay $5 for Super Mario Brothers again. Because this time it has achievements or multiplayer or something. Or they just won't.
Anything. They'll just still charge you $5 for Super Mario Brothers.
See who buys it again. Yeah, maybe.
Or you could just buy an original Nintendo system
and a 50-cent Mario Brothers Duck Hunt cart. Yeah. You're right. You could. Except the old Nintendos are getting harder and harder to play on the newer TVs because you don't really have the.
Okay, or you can buy one of those Retron systems then.
Okay, there you go. All right. Anyhow, moving on with more news, Loki.
All right. So if you want to take part of the Sony Online breach class action lawsuit rewards, then now's your time to go ahead and sign up for that. So if you head on over to PSN SOEsettlement.com, you can actually sign up and register to receive such rewards as 3 months free of PlayStation Plus, or some games that they already offered up to people that were affected by the breach the first time, or some shitty dynamic themes for your PlayStation 3, which really, why would you pick that? That's literally the worst option that you could pick on all of those. To qualify, you must have had a PlayStation Network, Curiosity, or Sony Online Entertainment account on or before May 14th, 2011. And you can receive, I guess, one or two games, the 3 months, or those stupid themes. I don't know why we picked those themes. I'm not even considering that an option. But yeah, I went ahead and did that, even though I got my free games.
Yeah, I was going to say, I guess I could do this because, hey, free game, but I do kind of feel like, well, Sony kind of already gave free games.
Whatever, they're offering up free PlayStation Plus, so I'm going to take it.
Yeah. And have you never had PlayStation Plus ever?
What are you talking about? I have PlayStation Plus now, but it's going to extend it 3 more months.
Oh, well, shit. Then that's maybe what I'm going to grab out of that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, I mean,
I thought originally that was only supposed to be for people who never had PlayStation Plus before.
No.
Could get that. Oh.
It's for anybody. But there's a lot of people getting that, then it drops it down to 1 month. But that's still an extra month.
That's still an extra month.
So, I'll do that. Because all the games that they were offering up were literally the same games that they had before as part. Well, no, it wasn't exactly the same. They had like puppeteers on there now, so they had some decent games, but it's just a lot of them I already had. I just didn't want them. So, and the themes, like I said, themes are not even really an option for me at all.
Yeah.
Why would I do that?
Running a little behind on our chat room over at live.vognetwork.com, but I wanted to read a comment. There's still a lot of people talking about the copyright dispute, and I totally understand that. But trying to pick out some of the comments of the stories we just read. Dart Tetsuya says, to be fair, I'm sure they'll still offer a discount for owners of the previous versions of the ROM. He's talking about the Virtual Console thing, about how Wii U 2 or whatever it's going to be. Obviously,
well, that's assuming that their online services can talk to each other because they still haven't quite figured that out too well.
To be fair, you can get, if you bought it on the Wii and then you have the Wii U, you can get the game for like $1. And it is a better experience on Wii U than it was the Wii, but it's worth about that $1. You know what I mean? So to be fair, you do get the discount.
Stupid. I'm sorry. We're living in a day and age where Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, you can buy it on PlayStation 4 and get it on PlayStation 3 for free, or vice versa. But yet, Nintendo can't fucking offer me a free copy of a goddamn ROM that they've made tons and tons of money off of already. I mean, this is exactly the type of company that we're dealing with here that feels that they are owed money for every fucking step of the way.
So you actually reminded me of a game I totally played for a little bit this week that I forgot to talk about during my gaming week, so I guess I'll bring it up now, talking about ROMs and things. I played Metroid Prime Trilogy, because that came out on Wii U. It was only $10, right? I played a little bit of it. I mean, I didn't play enough of it, obviously. I didn't even think about it during my gaming week. But I played a little bit of that, and I gotta say, that was kind of nice to be able to buy that for $10 on Wii U, because there was no fucking way I was going to pay like $50 for it at GameStop or whatever it was, or they were way overcharging for it because there wasn't a lot of copies of it out there.
That's awesome, that they charged that extra money for it. And you wonder why they set that precedence, because Nintendo makes fucking exclusive deals with them all the goddamn time. Once again,
and I don't like that. Problem. And I don't like that. So I was very happy when Nintendo was like, we're going to offer it for $10 digitally. I was like, all right, cool. Now I can finally pick this up, because I had Prime 3, and I think I had Prime 1 on the GameCube, but I don't even really have a way to play GameCube games anymore. My Wii's not even hooked up. So I never bought Prime 2. So I was like, all right, I'll spend $10 on the collection. The only thing that kind of bummed me out, and I forgot that they changed this in Prime Trilogy, is that you only have Wii motion controls in Prime 1 and 2. Well, Metroid Prime was for the GameCube, and you used a GameCube controller. So I thought, I'll be able to use my classic controller. Nope, I got to use the Wiimote and the nunchuck. That's not a problem with the Wii. I mean, that was the way they did it on Trilogy for the Wii. I just forgot about that.
But goddamn, we spend any ounce of effort to make it better. Yeah, fuck us, for expecting them to do something.
I would have appreciated the ability to use classic controls.
No effort and all the fucking reward. That is why they're fucking charging for fucking advertisement.
Yeah. All right. Anyhow, moving on.
You know who is paying?
Who?
Valve.
Yes.
Valve is paying.
Mm-hmm.
Valve has actually paid out a lot of money. They've paid over $57 million out to content creators. Folks who have created items for Team Fortress 2, Dota 2, Counter-Strike Global Offense. And this is also spread out amongst 75 different countries. So basically, all of these people who have been throwing stuff, out there for Valve's products have been reaping the benefit. I mean, they are clearly appreciative. In fact, they've even, said one of their developers, Alden Kroll, said, today we're happy to announce that after a ton of work, the first curated workshops for non-Valve games have opened. So they've expanded it. Dungeon Defenders Eternity and Chivalry Medieval War. So there's more and more coming out. So they're like, hey, thanks. You're keeping our stuff alive. Here's some money.
I wasn't even thinking of Valve when we were talking about all these other stories. Probably it has to do with consoles versus PC. And for obvious reasons, I associate Valve a little more with PC ends of things and Mac, computers in general, right? So I kind of associate Valve with that. But it is interesting that Valve is not only a game maker, but they have this service. And now they have this whole game streaming thing within it where you can stream the games to your friends and so forth. I mean, they've essentially built that for their own games. Now, granted, there's no revenue sharing in that. There's none of that comes into play, but just kind of interesting to see how things are from that angle. And then what you just mentioned right there with all these community market things that are selling for quite a bit of money there. And I bet Valve gets quite a nice cut of that as well. Well, speaking of Steam, now you can't make any community market items for this game, I don't think, anyway, yet. I don't even know if there's trading cards, but you can get the definitive version of Quantic Dream's Indigo Prophecy. It is now available on Steam as well as iOS, PC, Mac, Linux, all those different platforms. It is available for $9.99. You can pick that up. If you don't know the game Indigo Prophecy, it is by the folks who made Heavy Rain, if I'm not mistaken, Quantic Dream, right? So you can check out this early game of theirs. This version, now the original game was capped at a resolution of 1024 by 768, but this new version will allow resolutions up to 2880 by 1800. And they say they gave every game texture in the game a facelift, so some have 4 times the detail that they used to have. But for iOS, there is a 2 gigabyte size limit, so some of the textures are only double what they used to be. So, I mean, but if you're going to be playing the game on something a little more portable than something on your desktop, I would think that that would be a given there, that it's not going to be quite the same. So that's pretty cool. And in the FAQs, they say no cut or censored content in this version. So if you're worried if anything got cut along the way, don't worry. You don't have to. Did you ever play Indigo Prophecy, you guys? Anybody in this room?
No.
It may be in my Steam library. I honestly don't know.
Do you think you picked it up and you just haven't played it yet?
I may have picked it up at one time. I wouldn't know, though.
All right, so there you go. Awesome. Well, let's travel around the world and check out some release dates. We're going to go see what's coming out to a store near you.
Yeah, that much this week is pretty it's pretty dead. We've got a couple games. First one being Motorcycle Club, which is on PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. And then Criminal Girls Invite Only on PlayStation Vita. No, it's not a porn game. Maybe it's a porn game. I don't know. And then SpongeBob Hero Pants on PlayStation Vita, Xbox 360, and 3DS. Thank you, Activision. That's it.
All right. Well, I usually would do the Japanese release dates right now, but the website I use for those is down. So I'm going to try to find an alternate resource here real quick. Dark Soccer, would you mind doing things out of order here? Live radio, it's a blast.
There's only one. It's
really?
On the February 4th. Grow Home will be out on PC, which I don't even know what that's about. I'm going to look at it. Maybe you have one of those hydroponic gardens that... it's by Ubisoft. It's an experimental PC platformer called Grow Home with a little robot. And it looks like he's stuck hanging out in nights into dreams. Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess I'm not going to be able to do Japanese releases this week. So sorry, Japan. Nothing is coming out in your region. Absolutely nothing. I'm just kidding. Let's move on, though. We've got a few more news stories for you guys in the classic game of the week. First up, Loki.
All right. So Sony has pulled the support for a few of their non-game apps on the Vita, which is kind of sad. I remember also they've dropped, Nier, but I guess the Maps app and the YouTube app will be removed as well. I guess the Maps app, which I think used some of the features of Nier, is not, or it's expected to be removed as part of, a March update, and then the YouTube app will be gone by April 20th. So they're saying, though, that you could still access YouTube through the web browser, but it is kind of lame that they're removing that. And honestly, I don't know why they would be doing that, unless maybe they were doing an update to the whole... some part of me is hoping that maybe they're doing just an update to the whole operating system on the Vita. Maybe that's going to be taking effect sometime soon, and they're just removing this stuff because it's going to be replaced by something better. Because I can't imagine that having Google Maps on there is such a drain or of resources or something. I don't really understand why they would remove that. But kind of disappointing.
Well, Nier I never understood anyway, so I haven't used that since the Vita first came out.
Nier, I think, was more of like kind of street passing, but without going anywhere.
But it didn't make sense. They never explained it very well in the
No,
interface.
that's true.
It was kind of silly. Which I understand Nier isn't necessarily getting shut down or whatever, but without the maps functionality in the Vita. I think it's probably a license thing. Wasn't Vita licensing that from Google? Wasn't Sony licensing the maps thing from Google?
Maybe.
The license probably ran out, and they decided so few people use it, they didn't want to renew it. That's my thought anyway.
Oh.
It's probably what it is. And then the YouTube app, probably because it works on the website and the Vita, level of people who use YouTube on the Vita is so small, they probably just don't want to use the resources updating the Vita app anymore, so they have no more support for it. Because YouTube does add new stuff like... God, what is it I saw now on the web is that it will auto play the next thing on the playlist, which I hate that shit. When I go to YouTube, I want to watch one video. If I want to watch a playlist, I'll let you know. I'll make my own playlist. But, yeah, I mean, so the YouTube technologies are changing all the time, so they probably just didn't want to build that into the apps.
I'm actually glad they're going HTML5.
Oh, did they?
Yeah.
I thought they were already on that for a while.
Well, I mean, one thing, I don't know if you've noticed, Flash has had like a bajillion updates lately.
It's so annoying. And then now it freaking locks me, like it shuts Flash down on every website unless I'm willing to update, which is a real pain in the butt while I'm trying to do these shows.
No, well, the other thing too is that I think that might be part of the reason why they've gone to HTML5.
Yeah.
But that, of course, watching YouTube on iOS devices without having their app would, that would help.
Right.
But I mean,
Although the app's all right.
Yeah, but I just think it's neat that the technology is finally,
yeah,
becoming more accessible to other people.
I like to use the app to load something up, and then I push the button that plays it on my PlayStation 4. That's what I like. Just trying to find something with a controller is a pain in the ass.
We've got a Chromecast for that.
Oh, well, yeah, I don't have a Chromecast for that, so.
$30.
All right. I'm cheap. I have a PlayStation 4 that plays almost everything, so I don't usually need one. All right. One more story for you guys, and this is about a series that I love. I love this, and I'm not sure how I feel about this news. One of my very, very, very favorite puzzle games ever is Luminous. And Luminous, of course, was a game that came out from Q Entertainment. They also did another great puzzle game, very underrated game on the DS, not the 3DS, but the DS. It was called Meteos. And I love this game. And they did like a Disney version of it that was And then they did a version on the Xbox 360 that was really weird to control with a controller, but it was adequate for what it was. But anyway, Luminous and Meteos are two big, awesome puzzle games that are apparently now part of Mobcast. Mobcast acquired Luminous and Meteos from Q Entertainment. So what are they doing? They're making a new Luminous game for iOS and Android. This will be a collaboration with Tetsuya Mizuguchi. So that's very interesting. So that's where I feel mixed, is because I love a lot of Q Entertainment stuff, but granted, that's probably because of Tetsuya Mizuguchi. So to hear that he's still involved makes me a little more hopeful. I guess it's cool that it's coming to cell phones. I remember there was a Luminous on iOS, and it was awful because the controls were awful. So if they're going to fix that, then I guess it'll be better. I'm also very interested to see what this is going to mean for Meteos, because now Meteos with touch controls, I could kind of see that. That actually might be really cool. So I'm curious to see how this all plays out. So anyway, Mizuguchi is going to be working on Luminous from his new studio, Enhance Games. But of course, Mizuguchi left Q Entertainment after co-founding it in 2003. He left it in March. So, I mean... again, I think a big part of the reason why I like Q Entertainment so much is because of him. So if he was gone anyway, then at least he's still involved with these babies, Luminous and Meteos. So good luck, Mobcast, and don't fuck it up, because I really love these games, and I really need them to be good on the mobile devices. I kind of wish it was console, but... I understand the Vita one may not have done as well as y'all wanted it to, and maybe that's why Q Entertainment was looking to get rid of it, or maybe they realized there wasn't much they could do with it without Tetsuya Mizuguchi. So, I don't know. I'm trying to keep an open mind. Please, please, please don't screw it up, Mobcast. Please. All right. Well, let's go back to a more classic time in gaming's history, because playing games on your portable phones, what is that about? That's not something we used to do back in the day.
we had Snake.
No, you didn't even have Snake. There was no more. Your phones were still attached to the wall.
Remember my Bats Mario Nokia phone?
Yeah.
That was great.
You see that over there by the coffee machine? You see that on the wall? That's a phone jack. You ever seen one of those before?
Yes.
And notice how it's empty
Rob,
in this
I'm
house.
older than you.
I know you are.
Is that where I get my internet from?
No.
Back in the day.
A little different. All right, yeah, back in the day, you'd have to call AOL.
You'd have to have a second one put in so people could use the phone instead of knocking you offline.
That's why AOL was made, although I'm not really sure what
We should
AOL's
introduce our listeners to
is in
what
the
the
business of
modem
now.
noise sounds like.
All right.
Listen to dubstep, you'll get an idea.
All right. Here it is, your classic game of the week from way back when.
Today's game is Hinotori Hohen Gao no Boken, which translates to Phoenix Chronicles Gao's Adventure. And it was the version in particular that we're covering today is the Famicom version that was done by Konami, not the MSX one. It had a similarly named one on MSX, but the games were based off the manga called Hinotori or Phoenix, done by Osamu Tezuka, who did Tetsuwan Atom, as in what did we call him over here again? Astro Boy. Yeah, I had to think about that for a moment because. He also did Kimba the White Lion and Blackjack, so those are a few others that people over here might be more familiar with. So basically, it's the story of a guy named Gao who, as a kid, lost an arm and an eye, and he was teased. Poor guy. And he grew up bitter. Very bitter. And so, as the story goes, he's going... he basically got married, had a family, and then went crazy and killed his wife. So
It's a dark story.
Yeah. So basically, he went to try to reform his wife. He became a Buddhist, became a sculptor, and now he is on a quest to recover pieces of a phoenix statue. That's basically he's trying to get eternal life by drinking the blood of the phoenix. So basically, it's a platform game. You have to take Gao through 16 different levels to get 16 sculpture fragments and put the phoenix back together. You have boss enemies at the end of each stage. In some levels, instead of the boss enemy, you actually have to avoid traps, or walls or different things to that try to impede your process. It also has a life system, so you have 3 lives and each have a number of hit points. So if you get hit by something, you lose a hit point, and when you get 0, you lose one of the 3 lives. You also can lose lives by falling into a pit or failing to complete the level before the timer runs out. And then you also have a little thing that you can do where if you are in a situation where you're trapped and can't progress, you can press the select button and he self-destructs. You start the level over. And if he, of course, loses all 3 of his lives, you get game over and you get the chance to continue from the beginning of the stage. So it's really a simple game. I mean, it's super fun. I have played this one before. I like the MSX one because it's sort of like Shock Troopers, except kind of like that. Actually, it's like a shooter, like a plane game, except you're running on the ground. But I like the adventure games a little bit better, especially since it's got such a compelling story. And I don't know if anyone's ever read any of the Phoenix manga, but it's such a good story. I mean, it really is. There's for anime fans out there, there's OAVs. I think the last one came out in 80 something, I want to say. But just gorgeous animation, and it's nice, that the video games made it into parts of the story as well. So, and so you're basically looking at a little bit of one of the best known manga anime series that have been out, but added into the video game lore as well. So, there you go.
Can you say the name of this game one more time?
Oh, good lord.
Hinotori?
Hinotori Hoen Gao no Boken. So, but now for anyone who is a fan of diverse systems, okay? Loki, are you listening?
No, I am not listening.
Okay. There was a CD done by Tomoyan that was 8-bit versus diverse systems. and one of the songs from the series made it in. So if you listen to the end of the show, you might get to hear it.
Live.
Yeah.
Not podcast.
If not, then you have to go out and purchase a legitimate copy of, or just find it on YouTube.
All right. There it is. Your classic game of the week. And I'm looking in chat. There's a few people in chat talking about how old anime was dark. Oh, sorry. I haven't watched a lot of the old anime.
You ever watched Dog of Flanders?
Prepare
to cry.
Old cartoons to me are like the Muppet Babies, okay? And the stuff I grew up on, which, the Muppet Babies wasn't really a dark show, although it would have been funny if it was.
I was just thinking about, I was reading the chat actually because Pao was like, Phoenix manga was so good without being preachy. Yeah, because I've always been a fan of Tezuka. His work has been just top notch and really approached topics that were not really, I think, touched at the time that he did it. So it's a very, very brilliant mind.
All right. Well, there it is, your classic game of the week.
Pal, Dog of Flanders, where happiness goes to die.
All right. Well, that was a good pick. That was one I have to admit. I didn't really know a lot about that game, but knowing that it didn't
I'm
make
all
its way
about
over
education.
Here, that's good. You got to educate the masses.
Heck yeah.
And I'm surprised you didn't, most people you would expect would have done something this week like Tecmo Bowl or Super High Impact.
Fuck. The superb owl. I was trying to think of games that had owls as the head character.
Oh, see, that would have been there.
But that would have just had me doing Ocarina of Time and how we wanted to shoot that owl in his face. I kept throwing so many deck nuts at him.
Games that star owls. I keep thinking of Harry Potter. I don't know why.
Hedwig.
Games that star
What
owls.
if there had been a Hedwig in the Angry Inch video game?
That'd be amazing.
Where you play as Hedwig, it's the Hedwig RPG, and you have to go. Never mind.
I don't know. You're working as a midnight checkout girl.
New dream game. Hedwig in the Angry Inch, the video game.
That'd be amazing.
The RPG.
It'd be amazing.
Go into RPG Maker and make me a Hedwig game. That is your commandment. Do the thing.
And on the fourth day, Dark Sakura said, "Let there be Hedwig." Awesome.
And there was snipping.
All right. Look, we're going to take a break, guys. We got plenty more show to come. When we come back with more of Orange Lounge Radio right after this, we have Rapid Fire News, Fugal Question of the Week, and that news segment coming up when we come back with more of Orange Lounge Radio right after this. Welcome back, everybody, to Orange Lounge Radio, live on this Sunday night, February the 1st, with the 585th episode of our show already in progress. All right, so I've been teasing earlier in the show that we're going to try out a new segment in the show, and we're going to put it right here. And this is in response to, last week you guys were talking about, or we all were really talking about the forums over at vognetwork.com and how, not a lot of people are really using the forums. And some of you guys in chat were like, well, we'd probably use the forums a little more if there were, some discussions that, were motivating us to go over there and post. So I thought, you know what? All right. We get into a lot of debates here on the show. We get into a lot of topics that we talk about that maybe we are not always necessarily done, even though we have a generous 3 hours, which is longer than most podcasts go for. Sometimes even 3 hours isn't enough to talk about all the things that go on in gaming during a week. So we might go over to the forums and continue a conversation. So you'll probably see me posting on the forums a lot, either on the Orange Lounge Radio forum or in our general video gaming VOG Network forum. You might see Loki or Dark Sakura pop over there as well, as they have some things to say. And then you guys have some things to say. And we're going to kind of wrap that all into a segment we call Forum Follow-Up. So let's get started with tonight's Forum Follow-Up to some of the topics from last week's show. All right. So for tonight's Forum I thought something a little funky for this segment would be a little bit different for you guys. All right. Let's get to tonight's Forum Follow-Up. So there's two topics I want to follow up on tonight. And one is last week we were talking about what makes a game worthy of your subscription fees. And I made a post over on the forums kind of expanding on my thoughts a little more about Elder Scrolls Online and the fact that Elder Scrolls Online was going to be losing the subscription fee element of it. And I kind of asked the question, like, why is it that some people will still pay for WoW? They'll pay for Final Fantasy XIV. What makes the game more worthy of those subscription fees? And you can read what I had to say on it over on the forums, or you can listen to what Flacco Jones said in response. And Flacco Jones on this topic said, I hate sub fees. Hate. But I resubbed to WoW because I love the game and I just had to see the new content. I only pay 30 days at a time, though, never recurring, so I have the option to start and stop when I want. It's worth it because I'm having a blast, but I think a sub model is so outdated and a ripoff when $60 games like Skyrim, Dragon Age, and Diablo give you hundreds of hours of content. Let's not talk about how many hours I've sunk into Diablo 3, okay?
You know, it just popped into my head.
Huh.
I can quit anytime.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what Alan would say about Diablo 3 right now, because he's not playing right now or anything. He's either playing that or Dragon Age Inquisition. It's got to be one of those.
He's playing laundry.
He's playing
with
laundry.
Sanrio.
That's, to be fair, he's playing laundry.
I did go back and pet Sanrio, by the way.
Good. Continuing on with Flacco Jones' thought here. Hundreds of hours of content for one price and maybe add on some DLC to pay for later. If WoW just charged subs to do stupid endgame crap like raiding or whatever, I'd be the happiest gamer ever because I just like to level and quest and stuff, and I think paying for the expansion should cover the cost at least. So that was on that topic. And then another topic to follow up on was Amiibos. At the top of the show last week, I was talking a little bit about Amiibo and how I personally was feeling like I'm kind of over it. Like, I am over this Amiibo fever. I hate this artificial shortage that Nintendo's creating. They should just have an online store when this stuff is so popular. Like, I spelled out my thoughts on the forums a little more verbosely, and some of you guys responded to my thoughts, and so I want to read some of those responses. Gamer Fox replied and said, the extremely limited availability of certain Amiibo is a real turnoff. It's also frustrating to order the products online as orders have been canceled or postponed indefinitely. But for me, most of the hunt happens in person, and I've been pretty lucky so far in scoring some from various retailers like Toys R Us, which is right by my house. I'm not looking for a complete collection, which sets me apart from others perhaps. I'm okay with not getting all those really limited characters as long as they're not ones that I really want, like Bowser or Legend of Zelda characters. My latest pickup last night was literally a stroke of pure luck. I can see how that kind of roll the dice can be frustrating for fans. I entirely echo that sentiment. I'm mostly collecting the Amiibo because they're collectibles and I like the figures. I'm also hoping for some increased functionality from Nintendo down the line too. And then Pow also responded to this and said, I like the Amiibo, but the low availability changed my initial plan to get them all. I'm not going to start a collection when even Mr. Iwata is telling me that having the whole collection is going to be hard. I got the ones that I consider to be classics, and now I'm done with Amiibo. I wasn't surprised with the initial sold-out panic moment, but I am surprised with Nintendo's lack of interest for restocking them. I'm not buying the whole shelf space is a challenge story, since I was born in Europe, and many of my European buddies don't have as many issues to find them than my American friends. Sorry, but the idea that shelf space is an issue in the USA but not in Japan sounds like a bad joke. Even if that excuse is true, you have an online store, Nintendo. Use it. Ooh, Pow really summarizes my feelings on the matter personally very well. I think he makes a great point there. As it's like, okay, so you somehow have the shelf space in Japan, but you don't have it here. I mean, I guess I understand that collectibles may be a little more of a thing in Japan, but I have a hard time believing that shelf space is that big of a concern here, especially with how crazy some of that stuff sells. And, even today, Target released the Rosalina figures, and I know multiple people on Twitter that were up at the crack of dawn to go line up at Target and get their Rosalina figures, and like, I'm not one to knock on other people's hobbies and what's fun for you. And if you got a reward out of that, I'm happy for you and so forth. But it's kind of one of those, like, I am like over it. Like, why can't I just log on to Amazon and buy it like a new pair of socks? Like, or any other Nintendo game or something like that. Like, I don't understand why it's it's February 1st. It's not the holidays where we're all lining up for that stuff. It's so weird to me. So weird. Looking in the chat room over at live.vognetwork.com, Fifth Dream says, Amiibo-ver it. Anyway, I hate to leave that so negative on Amiibo, but that was some of the feedback. But I have seen a lot of positive. I think the people that feel real positive about Amiibo are just too busy playing Super Smash Brothers and leveling their Amiibos to 50 to comment this week. I guess I'm going to assume that's the case. So anyway, there it is. First edition of forum feedback. We're never going to be able to read every forum post, and they'll usually have to be edited for length, but we do, it is a show where every gamer has a voice, and our forums is another place where you can share your voice. Over at vognetwork.com, you click on forums, or you can just go to forums.vognetwork.com. All right, let's get into some rapid fire news tonight. Loki.
Okay, so I don't know. Basically, Dragon's Dogma Online sounds pretty awesome. And it's this brand new free-to-play game that they're going to be putting out on PlayStation 4, PlayStation 3, and PC. Now, I never really got into the original Dragon Dogma game, but this almost sounds like, and I don't know if you've heard much about it, Rob, it almost sounds like, to me, the co-op stuff that they have for Dragon Age Inquisition. Because it's basically going to be going off with parties, I guess they're saying parties of 8, or I guess up to 4 players for certain parties, and then they also have you can spawn AI players as well, so up to a party of 8, 4-player real people, and then I guess that you just kind of go off on these like quests and stuff and do different missions or whatever. But they're also going to have these hub worlds where there's a bunch of people that you can interact with. So maybe a little bit Dragon Age Inquisition and maybe a little bit like Phantasy Star Online, I guess. I don't know.
Well, those are some of my favorite games. Although, in all honesty, I kind of find the Dragon Age Inquisition multiplayer to be a little bit repetitive. It feels way more grindy than Mass Effect did. It doesn't click the same for me. But again, I know other people are really enjoying it, so I'm not to knock on other people's fun. But this Dragon's Dogma sounds very interesting. I don't know much about the online one, but I'd check it out.
Yeah, they haven't really announced any sort of dates or anything, and right now it's just scheduled for Japan this year, so I guess we'll have to wait a little bit before we hear about it, or hopefully it does come over here. Who knows? But yeah, sounds interesting. They're saying, though, they also there was a European trademark for the game as well, so hopefully that means that there will be an international release for it as well, at least in the UK. And then, to go along with a game that I've been playing lately, which is the Lego Marvel Superheroes, they have now announced a few more Lego titles for 2015. And with that includes Lego Jurassic World and Lego Marvel Adventures, or Marvel's Avengers, yeah. So I guess I'll have to pick up the Avengers game. And they haven't really said yet when those are supposed to be coming out. Oh, also, if you're not into the licensed Lego movie properties, they also have the Lego Ninjago Shadow of Ronin. That's supposed to be coming out later on.
I got made to watch some of that show.
Lego Ninjago?
Yes.
Yeah. Keep trying to get my son to watch other Lego stuff because, they don't really have any more Marvel games.
It made my soul hurt.
Have they done Lego Jurassic Park games before, or is this the first?
They have Lego Jurassic Park toys, I think.
But not the games.
Not games.
Because I remember the Jurassic Park games back when that first movie was out, and the Super Nintendo one was scary as hell because that was right when first person and Doom-esque type of games were really starting to take over. So they kind of did that on Super Nintendo. It was scary.
It'd be interesting to see what they do. I don't know. They had raptors in one of the levels in Lego Marvel's Superheroes.
The thing that doesn't click for me is that Jurassic Park and that whole thing, it's not... I didn't think it was supposed to be something that was cute. It's kind of scary. I guess it's PG-13 scary. It's, Poltergeist scary, but it's still scary.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to exactly do that.
Could they do Lego Poltergeist? If they can do Lego... Can we have a little Lego gypsy lady?
And if you don't own consoles, though, but you have an iOS device, they also announced that they're going to be bringing the Lego Movie and Lego Batman 3 Beyond Gotham to those devices as well.
Interesting.
So, I don't know. I'm interested in checking out the Lego Marvel Avengers. I'm a little worried that they may... I don't know. It may not be as robust as the first game. Honestly, that's what kind of kept me away from Lego Batman 3 is that it wasn't open world like Marvel Superheroes was. I'm more interested in Lego Batman 2, but I don't really want to pick that up for my PlayStation 3 since I'm using a PlayStation 4 now. And then they have announced the titles for Xbox's Games with Gold for February. So in February, you'll be able to get, for Xbox One, iDarb, which is kind of a strange sports game that has a ton of integration with Twitch and Twitch chat. You can basically troll the people playing the game with chat comments. And you'll actually get to play that free. And I think earlier. It's supposed to be coming out in February. I'm not sure when it's exactly launching. Let's see here. No, they haven't said when it's launching standalone outside. I'm guessing outside of February, but you'll be able to pick it up for free. And then also on Xbox 360, for the first half of the month, they will be giving you, let's see. Well, so I guess it's iDarb for the first half of the month. I thought that was only on Xbox One, though. I know that the other two titles, Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, will be coming out as well. And then the second half of the month, they're going to have Sniper Elite V2. So lots of 505 stuff for this month, I guess. So yeah, that's your free titles. So go pick them up, even if you don't want them, because you might someday. And it's free.
The folks in chat over at live.vognetwork.com talking a lot about the Lego stuff. Tiger Claw says Lego Jurassic World, which will include all 4 movies. So I didn't know that. Is that going to incorporate the whole lore?
Hopefully. I can't imagine that they'd be able to stretch out one movie's worth of stuff into that. I don't know. And
then Fifth Dream says Lego The Rocky Horror Picture Show and links me to a YouTube. I can't do YouTubes while we're broadcasting live, but I can only imagine what that must look like. I somehow think that is not an official Lego brand.
I don't think
so. But if it was, that's hilarious. Oh, my God.
I can see them doing, remember they were trying to push for the Lego Back to the Future or something like that. I could see them doing
that'd be cool.
Like that.
Well, Tiger Claw says the Lego games I'd love to see happen one day. They need to do Lego Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Exactly. I was just about to say that because they have the toys for that. So
why not?
That'd
be fun.
Totally be down for that.
That'd be fun.
I know my son would be down for that too.
All right. Let's do some more quick news here. Starting off with this, a Wonder Boy spiritual successor, Monster Boy, could happen for Wii U. And this is going to be based off a Kickstarter. The Kickstarter page for the game says that right now the game is only going to be coming to the PlayStation 4 and PC, but there are some other formats and some folks hoping that Wii U, Xbox One would be some of those other formats. So Monster Boy is an all-new adventure that is created with the creator of the original Monster World. It can be considered an official part of the series, but since the trademark is owned by Sega, they had to change the name. New hand-drawn graphics and an improved art style. New transformations replacing the bear and the hamster. The game will still have an open world, but some of the environments have changed that fit a little more with the Monstered World universe. So if you're curious in checking that out again, and I'm sure a lot of folks would love to see that come to Wii U, but it's going to have to make a lot of money, so get over to that Kickstarter. It can come to at least PlayStation 4. That is on Kickstarter if you want to check that out for Monster Boy. I'm sure if you look that up, you will find it quickly. Cave Story 2. It's probably a thing, especially if some of the things revealed on desktops at PAX South are to be believed. During PAX South, I guess a folder for Cave Story 2 was spotted on a laptop from the game publishers. But the Cave Story 2 is probably a thing. This doesn't strike me as something that's particularly surprising. But there you go. It looks like something that is being worked on. Or, anything could be in that folder, though. It could just be concepts. It could be things that were ultimately canceled. I kind of doubt it, but it could be. It could be anything.
It could be fanfic.
It could be fanfic. It very well could be. It could be things downloaded from DeviantArt. Who knows? Anyhow, speaking of DeviantArt and some of the art people are going to make with this, World of Warcraft in the latest patch 6.1 is going to be giving out a new item called the SELFIE camera. That's right. It's a selfie camera, and that's what it does. It allows you to have your character take selfies.
Did the gnomes make it?
I'm assuming they had to have. I don't know who made
the gnomes gave us disco balls.
I know it's a trinket that you actually equip on your character. And that's, I don't see any of the lore behind this, but I'm sure it's got to be a gnome thing.
What happened?
sure it has to be.
Yes,
Anyway,
I'm glad that selfie cameras can be part of World of Warcraft lore.
yeah, right. Well, I imagine it's going to be the type of thing that people do. Machinima use this in Machinima. It's like a new camera angle for some people. But the other thing about the selfie camera is that not only do you take selfies of your character, but this is actually kind of funny because you do a mission and you get an upgrade kit that gives you the selfie camera MK2, and now you get filters for your selfies.
Instagram and WoW.
Yes.
Whatever. It worked out well
A
for them in Grand Theft Auto 5, so I can't complain.
Death filter. Yeah.
It's a little stretching it, trying to incorporate it into lore, but whatever. I guess
it should be noted.
Silly.
Now, it should be noted that also coming in the 6.1 patch for World of Warcraft is Twitter integration, and I think maybe Facebook integration, but I know just Twitter integration where you can tweet.
You mean spam integration?
You can tweet from within World of Warcraft. So, gosh, this makes an awful lot of sense because now not only can people post selfies of their real selves through Instagram, they can post selfies of their fake selves right there in World of Warcraft.
You realize we're a patch away from Slash Pizza.
I'm surprised it's not already a thing.
It's
to
Slash
be quite
Panda,
honest.
remember?
slash Panda Express, I think was the thing. Yes. So there it is. The selfie camera coming to World of Warcraft. Dark Sakura.
Well, moving into a different genre, we'll go into some fighting games. Mortal Kombat X. It is X, not 10, right? So anyway.
At least that's how they're calling it, yeah.
Yeah, stupid. Anyway, Ermac is the latest roster, latest person showing up in the roster. And there are already videos of him up on the NetherRealm Twitch stream. Kitana and Reptile are also on the character select screen. They're going to be played on the next stream. But right now, Ermac. And it's going to be out on April 14th. Don't get it for me for my birthday.
That Clueless Gamer video was hilarious.
Did you see that? The Clueless Gamer that Conan O'Brien did with the two football guys playing Mortal Kombat. And I know football, but it was really funny. It was really, really funny. Because surely
reactions are awesome.
Surely you've heard of the guy from the Seahawks that got up there and was like, I'm only here so I won't get fined. And he was answering all the questions of the president. I'm only here so I won't get fined. Well, he was in the Conan O'Brien video, and he was much more animated. Like, you actually got to see like a more personable side of him. But what I thought was great is that they were sitting there playing Mortal Kombat, and Conan says something about like, well, what type of games do you guys like to play? And that same guy, he goes, Mario Kart, because Toad. And it's just, but I mean, and I actually did write a tweet about this because I thought it was very interesting that this obvious Mortal Kombat X promo video kind of turned into Mario Kart Nintendo discussion, and just speaks to the power of those games that Nintendo makes.
I just like the reaction to like some of the fatalities.
Well, oh my god, even my reaction to the fatalities. Like, okay, look, I love Mortal Kombat. There's always been a place for Mortal Kombat. It's very over the top. But you guys know I don't like gore. I don't like Saw and all this, which I know is weird. Like, how do you like Mortal Kombat but you don't like gore?
Because it's really, really fake.
Because, yeah, in the original Mortal Kombat games, it was over-the-top, stupid fake. Like in Mortal Kombat 2, okay, they slice off the person's head and just a big glob of blood goes bloop. It's really stupid and fake, right? But now as I'm watching more and more for this one, I'm like, okay, it's still over the top, but it's getting a little much. Like
getting the skin cam or the skelecam or whatever.
They chop off the front half of the guy's face and the brain falls out and others. I'm like, this is getting to be a bit much. I'm not sure about my feelings.
Was it like he sucker punched her in the vagina or something like that? That was hilarious.
You can't do that. Oh yeah, their reaction to that was it was Cassie Cage did that. It was Cassie Cage did the split thing that her dad Johnny Cage used to do, right? And she punches that B girl in the
she fisted her
place, yeah. And it was like their reaction was like, oh,
fisting in Mortal Kombat. Who'd have thought?
Yes,
that was hilarious.
Anyway,
well, how about something a little bit less violent? I mean, it's still violent, but less violent.
Okay.
Udon. Udon has done some fantabulous Capcom artwork. They've done some of the last few of the official art books and whatnot, and some of the comics. But they have a project out right now that's called the Capcom Fighting Tribute, where they're basically taking fan submissions to go into the book. They've extended the deadline until February 9th so that you can go onto the Udon blog and do your submission. But some other people who have contributed to the past ones, which were the Street Fighter tribute and Darkstalkers tribute, were like Brian Lee O'Malley and Scott Campbell and Wendy Chu, different people, who tremendous artwork. Were in some of the previous editions. So if you make it in, you would be in good company. And you have to put OLR somewhere in your artwork.
Yes, hide it somewhere in there, please.
Hide it. Make us a Easter egg. And then in more serious news, the FCC has raised minimum broadband standards by a whole bunch. Minimum broadband is now 25 Mbps instead of 4. And the new minimum upload speed is 3 from 1. So that means that basically homes that don't have good broadband are now going to be federally granted better broadband. Which is funny because talking with some of my friends overseas, like they're on average like 6, and that's good. So we really are spoiled for broadband over here. But if we've got the technology and the means to do it, why not?
And it's also that they can't market something as broadband unless it reaches these certain levels, right? Yeah,
exactly.
Got it.
Because I think now you've got at least 2K on certain dial-ups, and yeah. So this is it's good news. It means that we're gonna have better
faster internet for more people,
or playing a Rock Band online.
Let's hope there's a new Rock Band to play online.
We'll
see.
We'll
see. All right, well, let's get to the Foogle question of the week. You take Facebook and Google+, you slam it together, you get Foogle.
It's Radio
Each week, we like to ask a question of our Facebook and Google communities, and we're going to read some of our favorite answers on the show right now. We asked a pretty easy question this week because, obviously, we're not oblivious to what's going on in the real world. There's probably a lot of people listening to the podcast this week and less live because of a particular phenomenon that seems to happen this time of year. It's the commercial bowl, right? Everybody's watching the commercials. Or the puppies, right? The puppies all playing against each other. The Katy Perry concert. All right. Well, anyway, look. So we all know there's a big football game today. And we're sure you all know about big sports games like Madden and FIFA. But what's your favorite obscure sports game? Now, a lot of things qualify as sports, so I purposely left this vague because I want to see what people came up with. So maybe it's something you see on ESPN3 or the Ocho, or maybe it's a foot, basket, baseball game that not a lot of people have heard about. So what's your favorite non-mainstream sports game? So some of the comments in chat. Andy R. says, I love Magic the Gathering. That was on ESPN at one point, so I guess that counts. Does Magic the Gathering count as sports? I guess it does, whatever you consider.
Have you ever been to a tournament, Rob? There are people who sweat there.
That is true. That is true. Critical Myth says, I wish it'd been a better game, but the Quidditch EA game from the PS2 era was fun for a little while. There you go, some Harry Potter Quidditch. Weren't some people trying to turn that into a real sport at some point? Like, quote unquote. I mean, like a sport in the real world?
They have rules already. It's on a foot thing. Yeah, Ray played it.
I would think you'd at least play it on roller skates so you can glide. Nope, it's kind of like with a broom handle between your legs. So it just looks like you go around whipping people with your giant broom handle. Okay, maybe I just need to keep some thoughts to myself. Mike B replies on Facebook saying, I would like to see croquet and badminton. I'm surprised there's never been there's got to be a croquet or a badminton game out there somewhere, especially badminton. Come on. Everybody loves a shuttlecock.
You know what?
That's what they're called.
I want lawn darts the game.
You want lawn darts the game?
Where you if you hit somebody, you win like 50 million points for.
They have a lawn darts game. It was in one of these stupid casual games for the Wii, where those multi-game casual games. They had lawn darts in there.
Okay.
But I want lethal lawn darts.
All right, lethal. Is that an OLL dream game? Lethal lawn darts.
Then that would be. I think there were lawn darts in Zombies Ate My Neighbors. I think maybe. I don't remember.
You know why lawn darts are banned? Because of people, getting poked with them.
Impaled, because those are huge.
Francisco Yu replied and said, does Daytona USA on the Sega Saturn count? Do. Anyway. Hitstun says, does Windjammers count? The flying disc game isn't a real-life sport, but it should be. It's great at fighting game events. Go for broke. All right, those are some of the answers from Facebook. Let's look at Google Plus, though, because I remembered to put the question on Google Plus this week. Can I get a round of applause? Thank you. And we got one answer on Google Plus.
Worth it.
All right, and we have Reddertainment, who says, WWE SmackDown. Of course a wrestling title's got to be in there, of course. How about you guys? Favorite non-standard sports game or non-mainstream sports game? Anything to throw out there?
I'm trying to think which would be the silliest of the two answers. I'm going to have to go with Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball. Mm-hmm. Technically, it's a sport. Technically.
Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball. All right, that's a good one. I'm thinking of a lot of answers for this. What about you, Darsara?
I was going to say Croquet Heather's Edition.
That's not a game.
Okay.
What about a real game? There's got
game?
to be some sports-esque title out there.
Bishibashi is almost a sport.
DDR?
Tetris. It's...
I'm not sure Tetris is a sport, but all right.
Being flexible, thinking quickly. It's brain sports.
I'm gonna throw it way back to my days growing up on the Commodore 64, and I'm gonna say Summer Games 2, a good Olympics game. It was a lot of fun. I spent
California Games.
I spent many hours on
Skate or Die.
Skate or Die. There you go. There's a sports. I was wondering if somebody was going to say Skate or Die or 720.
Hasn't that ever come back?
No.
That's a good question.
Tubin.
All right.
I would love to see that series come back.
What about Kirby's Dream Course? That was a golf game. It's very non-standard. I like that one. All right. RC Pro-Am, maybe? Huh?
I could go for that one. You know, Dan is a RC car enthusiast.
Mm-hmm. Good times. All right, those are some of our answers here in studio.
Pinbot.
Thank you guys for participating with the Fugle question of the week. Let's get back to some news. Loki.
All right. Yeah. Does Uniracers count? Because that'd be a good one.
I think Uniracers ought to count. That's a great one.
Unicycles. Anyways, Sega Sammy is cutting hundreds of jobs. They're basically prioritizing on digital games because console market isn't working out for them too well. But they're going to be cutting, or I should say, soliciting voluntary retirement for around 300 employees. And they're saying 120 are supposed to be approached by next month. And most of the layoffs include the San Francisco offices and Southern California offices.
This makes me sad. First, it was the fact that the Sega logo wasn't on that building anymore, and it was a Zynga logo that went up on that building. And now to hear that Sega is no longer going to have a presence at all in San Francisco is depressing, to say the least.
I don't know. I think Sonic's just not working out for them, I guess. I don't know. Like there seems to be some things that Sega seems to do pretty well on. That kart racing game, the Sega All-Stars Sonic Racing, that was pretty good. It was a competent game. I mean, it wasn't quite at the level of Mario Kart, but it was a good kind of bandage for that first year of the Wii U when there wasn't a Mario Kart. Like it was. They need to just go back to the day when they were making like Dreamcast games, because the Dreamcast stuff was awesome.
Also, like Phantasy Star Online 2. Like, Phantasy Star Online had a birthday this week. In the U.S. anyway. I know the Japanese release was a little sooner. But in the U.S., Phantasy Star Online had a birthday this week. And it made me think, how long has Phantasy Star Online 2 been out? And then they even have Nova on the Vita. And we still don't even have a lick of a trace of it here in the U.S. I guess they just don't think it's going to do well. And now that this closure is happening, it just makes me go, well, shit, if they're going to focus only on mobile and stuff now, we're hosed. We're not going to see it anymore. It's
sad.
Very sad.
Maybe they're the next company that's going to go under.
Ugh. I hate to think that. But doesn't Sega also have a big business? I mean, it's easy to say that, but they have a huge business in arcade games. They run arcades in Japan and here, don't they?
Well, yeah, I wouldn't want to see them go under, but I'm just
They
saying,
do the crane games, a lot of redemption
it's possibly
games.
that we just won't see. They'll go the way of Konami, whereas they're you're going to see maybe a release or two a year, and it's just all going to be mobile titles.
Well, but at least Konami's got PT, Silent Hills, if nothing else.
That's true.
There's nothing else. And
PT is all.
Metal Gear Solid 5.
PT is all.
It will be a good year for them.
And winning 11, still
no one cares about that.
Why? Wrong country.
Yes. This country doesn't care about that. Other countries do.
Well, then it's important in other countries. So, all right. Well, I don't know. This news makes me very sad. And it was, for me, this was the same day as all the Nintendo stuff we were debating earlier. So, where some of my thought comes from on why I do think game companies should get a cut. Because when I hear about stuff like this, I'm like, well, maybe, yeah. If even if the Sega that they got a cut from Let's Play videos only amounted to like $100,000, that could still be like two people's jobs. Well, in San Francisco, salaries, maybe only one person's job. But, it could still help them in keeping some of these talented
never
people.
How that money's... That's never how it's spent. It's not about keeping someone's job. It's, that's $100,000 extra dollars that they could have, in profit, not like, we're going to keep another person here.
Some comments in chat over at live.vognetwork.com. SSJ100 Matt says Alien Isolation sold like crazy for them recently, but that isn't an originally licensed title. Dungeon Buster says Sonic Boom tanked hard. Everyone hated it. Yeah, Sonic Boom didn't look super appealing to me, I must say. So.
Shocking that they took no feedback from anybody and said, hey, everyone's like, you know what? Those werehog sections in the games before, we fucking hated them. Just give us Sonic. And they're like, hey, we're going to put more of that stuff in there. We're going to make him super tall for no fucking reason.
All right. Well, thanks to some hackers, because, hackers going to hack. Some hackers took a look at the new Nintendo 3DS and the new Nintendo 3DS XL, which are coming out here in the States in a couple weeks, but the Japanese ones are already out there, right? I was talking about my experience playing one on last week's show. The hackers have found out by looking through these consoles that there is a video decoder that supports H.264. Why is this important? Because it's the same video format used to stream Wii U content to the gamepad. So, of course, folks are speculating, could the new 3DS actually function as a Wii U gamepad? Which is funny because I want to say when the Wii U first came out, I threw this suggestion out there about the current 3DS, but some folks were saying it couldn't handle it. The processing power wouldn't be enough. Well, now here we are with the new 3DS that maybe does have the processing power to handle that. Is this Nintendo's way around producing new or the standalone gamepads, Wii U gamepads, so that you can have games that support more than one gamepad? Because right now games can't really support more than one gamepad. But if they made it so that you could use your new 3DS as a full functional Wii U controller, then that would open it up for all these new experiences. Assuming, of course, people have new 3DSs available, but in a lot of Nintendo households, they probably do. So it wouldn't surprise me to hear that this is the route they're going to go down. I don't know.
Why can't I use a gamepad as a 3DS?
That's a great question, and I think that's something you'll probably... Virtual Console, I can't believe it hasn't already happened where DS games are coming out on Virtual Console, at least DS games. But, I don't know, maybe it's still a matter of time. We'll see. So, we'll see what develops with that. Dark Sakura.
Well... is everyone familiar with the Left Behind series? Eye roll insert here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, there is a Hawaiian court sided with the Securities Exchange Commission, SEC, against an executive from the publisher Left Behind Games, who was caught using insider information for stock trading. So basically, he got kicked pretty hard for it. So basically, the founder, this is the same court that also nailed the founder, Troy Linden, for found him liable for $3.6 million in disgorgement, interest, and penalties after granting SEC's motion for summary judgment. So basically, for being a, quote, Christian organization, they sure are some greedy bastards. Nailed. That's it.
All right. I was trying to see if anybody is commenting that over at live.vognetwork.com in our chat room, but most people still stuck on the 3DS. Tiger Claw saying it would be nice if the new 3DS had the ability to broadcast the games on Twitch instead of having people send in their old 3DS to get it modded with a 3DS capture device. But it sounds like, Jamie, what you're talking about is more where I say, oh, these companies should get that extra $100,000 that can help them save jobs. That money would really be used for things you're talking about, right? Like insider stock trading and all that type of crap.
It just means I hate people who are more interested in their own personal greed than in the well-being of other people. I'm going to get political with it. That's a problem with capitalism. There has to be some kind of balance in the system that's going to make sure that other people are going to be well taken care of. So, but the thing is that as many people get nailed for this, there's more of them getting, pats on the back from their investors or from the people they've done favors for, or, their government buddies. So it's just, I'm going to stop before I go on a tangent.
It's fine. It happened. Everybody has personal thoughts on things. I'm sure some may disagree, but that's why we're the show where every gamer has a voice. All right. A few more stories for you guys before we get to the mailbag. Loki.
So he is getting some more seed money with the Chinese e-commerce company Alibaba. Apparently, they've injected $10 million into the console, and the thought is that they're possibly going to be using the Ouya software and game library to add it to their set-top box. And you may remember that they had that Ouya Everywhere initiative that they started off with the Mad Catz Mojo console, which actually I haven't really heard too much about that console since I'm pretty sure that's out already. I wonder how that works with the Mojo and if it works well. It'd be interesting to see. Julie Ehrman didn't confirm that, but apparently it's been reported by the Wall Street Journal. And basically, they've confirmed is that they've been working with other partners to bring their platform and games to devices. Starting with the Mad Catz device here in the U.S. and Xiaomi in China. So I don't know. It's interesting. I keep forgetting about the Ouya.
Yeah,
sometimes.
I was going to ask, so what's the Ouya been up to for the past years? Because
fuck if I know.
I mean,
don't know.
it seems like there's still,
I'm
when
sure there's like stuff on there, but
yeah, when I go to some of the trade shows, like at E3 last year at the Indiecade booth, it definitely is. There's a lot of indie support for Ouya. But the thing is, a lot of the stuff that's on Ouya, I feel like is still available on Steam. So as somebody who already owns a PC and does a lot of gaming there, I don't always see the need to get the Ouya separately. But this is very interesting if Ouya is going to try and carve a niche for itself maybe in foreign markets where, especially in a place like China, a lot of these other consoles don't do business in China. Or I think, wasn't the Xbox One supposed to just come out in China, but then it got pushed back and, but they're trying to kind of break through. So it'd be very interesting if the Ouya can maybe carve a niche for that and being, because China's a pretty big place if you weren't aware. It would be interesting to see if maybe Ouya can make money in those markets that aren't tapped for some of the other big players.
It would be interesting to see. I'm kind of curious to do some more research on that Mojo console just because I know that's out already. And one of the cool things about it was you're able to map controls using the controller for games that didn't necessarily support controllers, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of curious to see. It looks like that they just basically run the Ouya games through an app on the actual device. Plus, can do just Android games as well. So I'd be curious to see how that looks, and also to see if the games on that console play better than say on the Ouya itself, because the Ouya itself isn't that powerful. So it'd be kind of interesting to see, how that would differ. And besides that, it looks like I like their controller a lot better.
All right. Well, moving on to a story about Final Fantasy 15. I know a lot of you guys are looking forward to Final Fantasy 15. Of course, we don't know the date for that yet, but we do know a demo is coming out with Final Fantasy Type 0 HD, which is due on the PlayStation 4. But even though we're being promised that we're going to get this Final Fantasy 15 demo with Final Fantasy Type 0, there is a possibility that the Final Fantasy 15 demo may not make it in time for Final Fantasy Type 0 HD. And where this is coming from is from an Ask Me Anything that was done this week. The director behind Type 0, Hajime Tabata, actually went on Reddit to do one of these Ask Me Anythings. And one of the things he said about the Final Fantasy 15 demo, he didn't want to share, he wanted to focus on Type 0 and getting people to pre-order it. But as far as the Final Fantasy 15 demo went, he said the team is doing its best, but they're still optimizing the game. It may not make Type 0's HD launch. A few details were given out, though, that you will be able to jump in the game, and Cindy's identity will be revealed or is it Cindy or Sydney? I thought it was Sydney because it's a female Sid now in 15. Or I guess we're going to get that answer if, perhaps if Cindy or Sydney or whatever her name is the actual incarnation of Sid in the game, or maybe it's like Sid's daughter or something. Oh, who knows? There's a million things that could be going on. We'll find that out in the Final Fantasy 15 demo, apparently. Whenever that comes out, it may not actually come out. I would imagine what would happen if it doesn't make Type 0's release is that you'll get a code for the demo that will download whenever they do release it a couple weeks later. But it may not be the same time. Now, keep in mind, this isn't the first game to ever have this happen. For example, a game like Crackdown, way back on the Xbox 360. Yes, the original Crackdown on 360. One of the big reasons why people bought that game was because of the Halo 3 demo, right? But the Halo 3 demo wasn't out the exact same time as Crackdown came out.
It was well after.
Yeah, it was a couple months after. So it's not like there isn't precedent for this ever happening before. So
I want to say that they said originally that it wasn't going to be out at the same time. It would be at a later date, but you just get access to it.
I think a lot of people might be assuming that. I don't know. I was going to pick up Type 0 anyway. The Final Fantasy 15 demo is just kind of icing on the cake, in my opinion. But we'll see. We'll see if it impacts sales or what have you. Meanwhile, we're going to go to the mailbag. You guys send us emails every week at participate@orangeloungeradio.com. And Dark Soccer's going to dive into the mailbag head first and find some emails from y'all that are worth reading on tonight's show.
I'm going butt first this time.
Butt first? Cannonball. Cannonball.
Yep. So we actually have a bunch of emails from Robert M.
All right.
I hope they're all as short as the first one, so I'll go look at them. After hearing the Raging Spazinator's advice, I plan to call Sony support next week. I'm writing this Wednesday, 1/28, and set up repairs or replacement. Work this week has been pretty busy, and I haven't actually had any of the issues I described for a while, but have no intention of taking it for granted. Is there any way to back up key save data onto physical media just to be on the safe side? Before we go further, I'm going to see if he figured it out for himself.
But I just want to say, for those that aren't aware, if you didn't hear last week's show, in a nutshell, I'm cutting corners, but this guy was worried that his PlayStation was failing, and he was wondering, should he buy a new PlayStation 3? Like, what should he do? And a lot of us were saying, just call Sony and see, weigh your options, if nothing else. So.
Indeed. So, next email from Robert M. Addenda. Since my last email, I did contact Sony via live chat today, Sunday, about 1:30 to 1:45 p.m. The tech said his impression was that the battery on the motherboard depleting, and he gave me the information on setting up a repair ticket. I may call the number later tonight or during the next work week. I'll let you know if I try it before the show. Thanks again, Robert M. He must have tried it before the show because we have another email.
I feel like I'm reading somebody's live journal.
Welp.
Dear live journal, welp.
Phone support is not available on Sunday, and now, about 6 p.m., my console is giving a 807-10092 error when I try to go online.
Uh-oh.
I just synced my trophies a few hours ago, and everything else is getting Wi-Fi. I wrote down all my info, and we'll try to call tomorrow. As for backing up your stuff, I have no idea, because I've never actually tried to copy any of my stuff off my PS3.
Yeah, you can. You just have to have a USB drive that's formatted FAT32.
Yep.
Answered. So now I'm going to read an email that is not from Robert M.
But good luck, Robert M. I'm sure. Hopefully, we'll probably have another email in the box on Monday.
If it's just like a battery, like a BIOS battery that's on going dead on, I mean, that would be fucking cheap. That would be a really easy fix to replace. Yeah. You just have to rip your system apart, but that would be fucking cheap to replace.
Yeah.
So, ready?
But they'll charge you $200 for it.
Yep. Hello, OLR. My name is Bryce, a.k.a. Physics Major. which thank you for telling me how to pronounce your interesting spelling of it. I used to listen to OLR every weekend a few years back, but I slacked off for a while there. I just recently started listening every week again. I also participated for the first time this past weekend. I really enjoyed myself, and I wish I could do it more often. I wanted to say thank you. Thank you for putting on a great show that allows gamers from every corner of the community to come together as one. I enjoy your show week after week. I even recommended your show to my friend who now listens to you guys.
Gold star!
50 of them. Unfortunately, I will not be able to listen live and participate this weekend. I hope to do so more often, but I will listen to the podcast on Monday. Thanks for all you do, Bryce. Well, thank you, and that's okay if we forgive you.
Thank you very much for writing that email, seriously, because without going into this too much, I was having a bit of a rough week earlier this week, and I got some kind of bad news midweek, and it's kind of one of those things where it's like, we'll probably get around it. We'll get over it. But it's one of those things where
it was a hump and not the good kind.
It was the not good kind of hump. And sometimes, there's a lot of, I don't know how to phrase it, but sometimes I feel like this show has been around for so long, and yet for some people, it's just not good enough what we're doing. What we're doing is just not legitimate enough. And I'm not sure what legitimate even is, but apparently
now I know what you're talking about.
On certain days of the week, we're not it, type of thing. And it
depends what you're trying to do as far as legitimacy.
God, it's so frustrating sometimes. It's like, I'm just trying to create a good show here, but whatever. And honestly, like not even an hour after I was just kind of dealing with all those frustrations, I peek in the mailbag just to get an idea of what's going to be coming for the show a little early. And I actually saw your email, and it was a really great reminder of like, you know what? To hell with everybody else. There's a lot of awesome people who check out OLR. Some of you all every week. Some of you keep tabs on us once a month. Some of you listen, binge listen, and then go away for a while and come back and binge listen some more. And that's all fine and good with me. Like, I consider myself extraordinarily lucky that you guys are here and that you give a shit about what we have to say, and that you give a shit enough where many of you become engaged and actually write emails and participate. And for that, I'm like so thankful. And it just kind of reminds me that all this other stuff is just bullshit, and fuck them. You guys are awesome. Fuck everybody else. That's me, and that's been my week in a nutshell.
Well, I also have to say that it means a lot to me too. Just because, and I messaged you when we were both sort of having kind of a crappy week, and it was it's really a pickup to say that to have someone say something so nice.
Yeah. You guys really are. And I mean, not just this email that landed at a nice time, but a lot of you have written very kind emails and chat comments and Twitter messages, and just, thank you guys so much for reminding us of our motivation on why we've been able to do this for 13 years. And I know some people, what's that? What do you...
Shane's not going to like this.
Well, okay.
Cops say this is actually kind of it's kind of geeky news, but really sad. Okay. Ricardo Medina Jr., who played the Red Ranger in some of the franchise films for Power Rangers, argued with his roommate and then stabbed his girlfriend with a sword.
What?
Killed her, and then stabbed his roommate.
That's... How dare you derail my sunshine and rainbow speech to talk about some stupid murder. Well, I shouldn't say stupid, but something such a downer.
It was just
what are you, a Nationwide commercial? God.
It was just like, I'm sorry, I was floored when I saw it, so sorry.
All right. Anyway,
Happy Rainbows, Ponies, Shitting Unicorn.
God. That was literally the Nationwide commercial of tonight's show. Jesus.
Sorry.
All right. Anyway, so where was I? Yeah, Sunshine and Rainbows. You guys are the motivation for us doing this, and I'm very thankful to have you guys here and be the reason we keep doing this. Anyway, I could gloat for another 30 minutes on the happy warm fuzzies you guys give me, but then Shane would just link something else, like, but
these other Red Rangers are not.
Did you know about all this disease in the world that's still not cured while your show's going on? Anyway. All right, let's move on. Is that it for emails? Is there anything else?
My headache came back.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Pinkberry.
All right. Let's get to the FUs of the week.
bang. Here is justice. Here is punishment. This is fucked up.
Fuck you to the Red Power Ranger.
I'm so sorry, I can't.
I mean, it's very sad. F you. Thank you, Marissa. Marissa does hashtag not all Power Rangers. Seriously though, just all of the... This is just really another thing to add to the layers of bullshit going on in the world. I just want to say, just people. For the few people of you who restore my faith in humanity on a daily basis by doing nice things, by adopting puppies and kittens and, leaving, paying somebody's... paying somebody's tab at dinner for a complete stranger, doing nice things. We need more of you people in the world and fewer of the assholes that are only looking to line their own pockets or looking out for number one. I would encourage people this: if you vote, if you act in, the public interest, anything that you do, every so often just look beyond yourself and ask yourself if someone else is going to benefit from it too. That's all I ask.
Loki.
And then actually benefit other people.
All right, now Loki.
I guess just F you, my cat. You're not a programmer, cat. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. Stop messing with my shit.
Linda does that too.
Especially when she tries to program with her ass. I mean, come on. That takes talent. You can't do that.
Minda's trying to guide Dan by headbutting his mouse hand. The cat should just get together and see if they take over the world.
I don't really have a good FU of the week. I do have a lot of things I want to say. I just don't want to say them publicly. So I'll just say an FU to fuckery. I'm going to just give a general FU to fucking fuckery. That's my FU of the week. Very creative, no? All right. Just a couple more stories for you guys, then we'll get to the Skype line at 1-877-GAME-OLR or our username on Skype, orangeloungeradio. But not yet. We have a few more stories first.
All right. So, Xbox, they've done pretty well, I guess, for the fourth quarter. So it's kind of confusing. So quarter two of their 2015 financial year, which I guess just recently ended on December 31st, they've sold 6.6 million consoles during that time. Probably because they did that nice price break and threw games in there. That's how you do it. And also removing Kinect because people didn't care about Kinect, unfortunately. Basically, their comment was, our sales engagement worldwide continues to focus on helping customers and partners transition to the cloud navigatable. I'm sorry, I'm already losing interest in what this guy's saying. So I'm going to stop there. And then, of course, not to be outdone by that, 1.84 million new 3DS units have shipped in 2014. I'm assuming this is just the Japan, since obviously the new 3DS isn't out here yet. And the Wii U is up to 9.2 million units. So probably the new 3DS is because people need their new shit, and the Wii U just because of some really good first-party software for this year. So hopefully they can keep that momentum going. But, yeah.
All right, we'll see. I'm very curious to see what Nintendo's E3 looks like, that's for sure.
All they need to see is a new Excite truck. A new Excite truck. Fuck this
Excite box. You might be waiting a while.
Yeah, exactly. If I want an Excite, truck sequel, I got to make it myself.
All right. Well, getting into one more story here, and I felt this was a very good note to end on tonight. And speaking about, family and listeners and you guys that motivate us to do great things every week, some of you guys are out there doing great things in the gaming community. And I think this is really cool because this guy, I don't know if this guy still listens to the show, but I know he has in the past. And you guys may not have actually known this if you've heard about this guy in the media. But he was somebody... He follows me on Twitter, okay? So I know he listened to OLR at one point. And I know he used to send emails and stuff. So I know I've heard this guy before. I don't know if he still listens. But if you are still listening to the show, Kevin DDR, a big congrats to you because I don't know if you know Kevin DDR, but even though DDR is in his name, which of course we all love DDR, Kevin DDR is very famous now for Tetris. He was in the Awesome Games Done Quick, and he did the whole Tetris thing that was really blowing a lot of people away, right? Well, he was streaming on Twitch, and he actually reached a very, very difficult to achieve Grandmaster ranking in Arika's Tetris the Grandmaster 3. This makes him the first player in North America to actually achieve this rank. And because it was streaming when it was happened, you can actually see a little stream of it online. So in order to get the Grandmaster promotional exam, which, yes, this is all built into a Tetris game, here's what you have to do. You have to get a GM rank during the majority of your last several master mode playthroughs. This means you have to have the maximum drop speed level by clearing several dozen lines in under 7 minutes, and then you have to play a minute's worth of Tetris on a credit scroll with pieces that turn invisible while they are dropping. Apparently there's 5 people...
Tetris hidden?
Yeah, it's crazy. There's 5 players in Japan that have achieved this rank, and now Kevin DDR has done this in the U.S. So congrats if you are out there somewhere listening or what have you. Big congrats to you on that feat. That's amazing. And what's also amazing about this, I've got to say, is that between Kevin's efforts at Awesome Games Done Quick and what he did this week on Twitch, more people are talking about this Tetris the Grandmaster game than are talking about Ubisoft's buggy Tetris game that was just released on PlayStation 4 like 3 weeks ago. It seems like, I don't want to say no one cur, but doesn't it seem like we're getting the less exciting version of Tetris here? What is up with that, where, you know, we've got this exciting competition going on over here, yet the one they release here in the States is kind of it's got some frame skip going on. It's not
because
so great.
it's casuals over here.
It's dirty, filthy casuals. Marissa Congusto in chat says, this sounds like Tetris S&M. I guess. I don't know. Kevin will have to let us know if he's out there listening somewhere. Although he's probably a little busy playing Tetris. Although I would think he deserves a break at this point. I don't know. So there you go. A good note to end on there. Something that people I remember listening to the show from a long time ago are out there doing. It's fantastic. We are going to open up the Skype line, you guys. I got to get on the right account, though. So while I open up the Skype line over at 1-877-GAME-OLR or a username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. Loki, do you happen to have any last-minute stories for us tonight?
Yeah, as I alluded to earlier in the show when we were talking about Nintendo and stuff like that and how, you know, people can abuse copyright claims. Techland, who just released Dying Light, is doing such a thing. They are filing DMCA claims against videos that are showing mods for the game. And not even necessarily like cheating mods, but like there was a mod, for example, that what was it? There was one, it was just like a small, it was like a one text file mod that they had. But basically, yeah, they're slapping claims against anybody that's putting up mods in the game. They're saying because, it affects single player as well as multiplayer. I don't know. I think it's kind of lame.
Well, if it affects single player, I mean...
Well, who cares about single player? Because whatever.
Well, is it just if it's your own single player, then, but does it affect other people's single players?
No, it's just, I think, your own single player game they're talking about.
Gotcha.
I was trying to remember what it was they were modding. It was, what was it here? It was a mod to remove film grain from the game. A film grain, like, filter that's on the actual thing. So there was a mod to remove that, and they were DMCA, copying. It's so stupid that they would do that. It's like, who gives a shit? It's fucking film grain.
Yeah,
oh my god, that ruined the game.
All right, let's get to the phones. We got somebody calling in here. Again, 1-877-GAME-OLR or username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. But we do have a call on the line. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
Hi, this is Raginator.
Hey, Raginator, what's on your mind?
Not a whole lot. One question and one comment. As far as the question, since it's the quickest part of the call, do you know if the three of you, or maybe even Bobby, are planning on really doing anything with Bog's Steam group, like in terms of like doing like events or organized play dates or whatever you want to call them. I know it's been a while since anything has really been done with the group.
Yeah, the participation for those events wasn't as good as we had hoped. It was very small for some of the outings that we did. But I think if we can get people enthusiastic about a certain game or something, I think we're more than open to that idea, excited even. And maybe we just have to mix it up a little bit. I mean, now, especially in the day and age where you can do streaming, maybe Bobby or myself or Jamie or hell, anybody on the network with this capability, there's no reason they can't do it. It could even be, somebody like Brad or John from Critical Myth, one of our other shows, Electric Sisterhood, love to see them get involved too, could be like streaming a game, and then other VOG people can actually like join in on that same game or something, and like maybe like do like a group live streaming event or something. I think it might just be about doing something a little more to kind of stir up the interest. I don't know. Plus, it's also hard finding the right game, because you have to find games that people own, unless you can find just the right free-to-play game. But then, is it something that's going to be a big download? What is that going to entail? Sometimes it's about finding that right game. That's why it's good to do games that a lot of people have. Like, I don't know, Minecraft, a lot of people have that game. Mario Kart 8 did a little tournament on there. It had pretty good participation. So I think a lot of times it's just about finding that right mix. So.
Yeah, I can definitely see the point. My original line of thought was, I could be way off the mark here, but if the VOG administrators, group administrators, really, for lack of a better term, pick things up with the Steam group and start organizing stuff, maybe they would possibly draw new members into the group, and then hopefully, in turn, draw traffic to the VOG site. And I'm willing to bet that you and Bobby and Loki and Dark Sakura would love to see new listeners, new registered members to the site, so on and so forth.
I'm all for bringing more cool-minded people, people that will respect the number one rule is don't be a dick when you game online. I'm all for bringing more people in that like-minded people to do that. So whatever we have to do to get visibility, I'm willing to try ideas. If you don't try it, you'll never know if something will work or not. So I'm willing to give the VOG game night another go. So we'll have to talk about that offline and figure out a good plan.
All right. Now, in regards to Robert M's email, I heard that he posed a question. I didn't hear the full question. He asked about backing up stuff, right?
Yeah, he wanted to see if you could actually back things up from the PS3, like your save data and things like that, which you should be able to do to a correctly formatted hard drive, because I've actually done that myself with one of my portable drives.
Yeah. The only thing I ever really backed up personally was game saves. You can back those up to the cloud, or if you have like a external hard drive for flash drive, you can back up your saves that way.
Oh, I totally forgot. Yeah. That's right. If this guy's a PlayStation Plus, he can back up all his game saves into the cloud. Really easy. Yeah,
the only ones that you're more or less forced to back up to the cloud, as opposed to a local drive, would be the ones that are copy protected. Those ones you have to do on the cloud. But the rest of them, if you want to have like a local copy of those, you can put those on a flash drive or whatever. Like Loki mentioned, to use a local drive, it has to be formatted in FAT32.
Right, that's just right. But there's more instructions online on how to do that. But definitely, if this guy doesn't have PlayStation Plus, he should go get his free one from the lawsuit, and he can back up that data into the cloud. That would be a good idea. So
and just so that I don't necessarily hog up a whole lot of time, not like tonight, but in the future, answering questions or whatnot. But if Robert has any questions that he thinks I may be able to help him with, he can easily contact me personally through Skype. My Skype name on there is Spazinator, Spazinator PSP. as long as I'm online, he's more than welcome to call me and ask away. So
There you go. Our own, as Kuma JP in chat says, our Sony tech support Reggie. I think it's Reggie. I don't know. Anyway, all right.
Yeah.
Well, Spazinator, I'm going to let you go. Okay.
sure, sounds good.
All right. Take care, my friend. All right. 1877 Game OLR. And, again, Raginator's point, Spazinator's point, Spazaraginator's point is show our VOG group on Steam a little love. And I know all three of us are on it, right? I'm on it. You're on it.
Yeah, but it'll play my Steam games.
But you're there. So you can check that. I am on Steam, and I broadcast all my gameplay. Now, here's the thing. If you watch a Steam broadcast of mine, I don't commentate or do anything over it. You can watch me playing the game, but I don't do any commentary. But if I'm on Twitch, then I'm usually doing commentary, webcam, and all that stuff. But I like being able to peek at games just to see what the games look like in motion. Because, trailers only show you so much, screenshots only show you so much, but actually watching somebody kind of playing the game goes a long way, in my opinion. 1877 Game OLR, username on Skype, orangeloungeradio. We're going to try to keep it open a little bit here to try and get some more calls. Meanwhile, Loki, any other last-minute stories that you have?
No.
No?
Yeah, unfortunately, I don't have any extra stories.
All right, well, let me see if I can go over to Twitter real quick here and read some tweets that we have. And we do have a tweet here from SSG100 Matt, who says, I posted my write-up of MagFest at the VOG forums. Oh, yes, I was looking at that during the break between parts A and B tonight. I saw your post over there. So, yeah, you can check that out along with the GoPro videos from the show. You can actually watch his YouTubes where he's walked around the show, and it's almost like you're there, except you're not there. Matt's there, but you're with him.
Except you have a fisheye view.
Yes. So you can check that out. I can't obviously give the full link. It's a little lengthy, but check that out at forums.vognetwork.com. Matt made a little post there with some of his YouTubes there. Just be careful. If you shot any Nintendo games, you might be owing some money over to Nintendo. I'm just giving you crap. Let's see. I don't really see a lot of other tweets besides that, at least that came in today. Sometimes we get tagged in posts that are unrelated here. I was getting a few tweets about Rockage as kind of like a follow-up to last week's interview, and some of the bands actually reached out to say hello, which I thought was really cool. And so some folks were asking, are you going to be at Rockage? Did you ever figure that out? So, yes, if you were listening to last week's show and you heard our interview all about Rockage San Jose, I will be there for sure Saturday, for sure. I can't be there Sunday because I got to get back and do OLR, right, guys? So I got to be back here on Sunday. I'm trying right now to see if I can find a place to stay in the Bay Area. If I have a friend over there that might let me crash with them so I could stay Friday night. So that way, because I'm too cheap for a hotel. And that way I can drive down and maybe get a little bit of the concert Friday night after work. We'll see what happens. All right, well, we do have the phones lighting up with some more calls. Wow, it all of a sudden lit up with some more calls. Let's get to it. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
It's Shane.
Hey, Shane. Haven't heard from you in a while. What's up?
Well, you guys sound bored, so I thought I'd give you a call.
What, are you bored too?
Yes, I'm super bored.
Hey, we're all bored. Why don't we talk about the weather?
It's dark out. There's no weather that I can see. But it might be foggy, though, so that's awesome.
It might be.
So what do you think of the ex-Red Power Ranger stabbing dude?
Oh, why you gotta go to a downer place?
I don't have, a real opinion on it, because it sounds like it may be self-defense, and that's fine. I'm more, kind of laughing about how all these outlets that I keep reading the story on make up the most random stories about him. Apparently he was the Red Ranger in the animated Samurai Power Rangers, which there wasn't an animated Samurai Power Ranger season. And so that's funny. And then one site linked to him and showed him as the Red Samurai Ranger, and then put a clip of him up, and it didn't even have him in it. It had the Red Samurai Ranger, which he was not. So, I don't know. I think he is innocent until proven guilty, so we'll see.
I am so lost right now on all this Power Ranger stuff you're talking about.
I wish we could just talk about the new American one, because it's so good, and I've watched it 6 times now since it debuted this weekend.
Yeah, but this is you.
You have to send that my way, because I'll know what you're talking about.
because I talk about it a lot.
all the time.
This is
It's
also
okay.
you that we're talking about, so you're biased inherently.
Well, no, he told me the story, and it sounded like it's pretty cool because it had dinosaurs and shit.
All right. Well, it is a video game show. Are there any video games that you've been playing lately, Shane?
I've been playing Bravely Default a lot lately, and I feel bad because it didn't make like my top 3 list or whatever of last year. And that game came out last year, but I never beat it. And now that I've picked it back up again, it's really, really good. I'm loving it. I'm sad that I somehow just kind of skipped over it and let it go to, video game, like, I don't know, what you want to call it, crematorium or something, because it just sits over there waiting to die.
What?
Or be burned.
What got you in the mood to play Go Back and Visit Bravely Default?
Final Fantasy Explorers.
Oh, actually, since you brought that up, last week I talked about my thoughts. You were good enough to bring your new 3DS over. That you bought a Japanese new 3DS. And you brought it over so I could check it out. So I talked about my own thoughts last week, but we didn't really get your thoughts. First off, why did you decide to import a Japanese new 3DS?
So, one reason. Let's go with the doesn't make me sound incredibly crazy reason. They announced in the last Nintendo Direct a new Rhythm Heaven game for Japan. Nothing for us. And I've been wanting to play Final Fantasy Explorers as well. So I figured that was a good enough reason. Those 2 reasons together, good enough. And there's always like Japanese games I want to play that I, either don't get a chance to, or by the time they come out here, I already forgot about them. So, because I have like a really, really short attention span. The bigger reason is probably because they did not bring out, or they are not bringing out the system in blue, so I was able to get it in blue.
I knew when you said there was a crazy reason. I was like, it's because he got a blue one. They don't have one.
Yes, and it's a very pretty blue, so I'm okay with it.
What?
It's like the color of my car.
It's a very nice blue.
What if they announce at E3 that there will be a blue 3DS in the holidays?
Oh, well, I already got one. I don't need a different... Well, unless it's a different shade.
So, considering that most people haven't paid the premium to import a system from Japan, so most people haven't got their hands on it yet.
And it's not... Also, I've had Japanese systems before, so this is like nothing incredibly new for me.
What should people know about the new 3DS? Is it worth it? What are your thoughts on it?
I think it's worth it. I think it feels sturdier. I love the head tracking. The little nub of a C-stick is great. I think it's really comfortable.
I didn't like that at all.
Yeah, you're weird. The shoulder buttons, having 4 there is kind of cool too. I don't find it cumbersome to pick, put my fingers on there and find the right shoulder buttons. I think it's just a nicer system. That is the system. Yeah, and the Japanese one, I never realized how much we were missing out on like the eShop until I got this system. It's not even fair. Like, it's night and day. They have so many good things on their eShop.
I'm a little jealous in that regard, but I don't know. I kind of don't think the new 3DS is really worth it if you just bought a 3DS, but maybe, if you've been holding out or whatever and you're still rocking a regular DS or a DSi or something, maybe now's the time to upgrade. The new 3DS is definitely a good replacement for that, but
if you got one like over the holidays, I wouldn't say probably you need to upgrade until a game comes out that says, you can't use it on your 3DS. Yep. You have to have the new 3DS.
Just waiting for that. Real quick before I let you go, what did you think? I don't know if you heard the story earlier about the rumor that the video encryption technology in the new 3DS is the same as what the Wii U uses to stream to the Wii U gamepad. So folks are speculating that the new 3DS will in fact be able to serve at some point as a Wii U gamepad. What do you think of that?
That makes sense to me. I mean, it's got the NFC chip inside too, which, for those stupid amiibos, they do that on the Wii U controller as well. So I thought it was going to happen earlier than this, but yeah, it's totally going to work with the Wii U. I don't see it not working with the Wii U.
Not a fan of the amiibo, huh?
No, I want like 4 of them, but they're all... 2 of them... Wait, one of them is out now. Another one comes out like in a few weeks. The one that's out now is Chic, and I really would like that. But I'm not waking up at 4 in the morning to wait for a store to open. I'd rather do that for something I care about more.
Yeah,
not some little dumb toy. And I'm not getting back into something like Skylanders, and that's all this is, but somehow worse.
All right. Well, Shane, I should let you go so we can try to take a few more calls. But thanks for calling in.
No problem. Goodbye.
Hope you're less bored now.
Nope.
Bye. What a jerk. All right. 1-877-GAME-OLR or our username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio.
I've just had a good idea, Rob. It's a better idea than Pinkberry.
What?
Cheesecake Factory.
Oh, God, I wish. Do you know how many calories are in a slice of cheesecake?
So we can split one.
I don't know. He's making dinner, too. I'd want to order food. Jamie's making all these post-show plans, you guys.
Yeah, I am.
She's ready to go.
No, I'm not. I'm writing fan fiction.
Meanwhile,
Shane, I wrote Dragon Age fan fiction the entire time you were on the phone. Just saying.
The phones are open, by the way. 1-877-GAME-OLR or our username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio. And I should mention, Alan is cooking right now, and it smells great here in the studio.
I'm freaking hungry.
It does smell good.
You can probably have a bite or two.
Not if it's carby.
Yeah, it might be. You says the one who wants to go out for cheesecake.
They have low-carb cheesecake.
Oh, my
and
gosh.
it's amazing.
Low-carb means still a lot of carb, just not as much carb as the other one. Because if I have to have that red velvet, and that's like the absolute worst thing you could possibly order on that whole fucking menu.
I'll help you eat a bite of it.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, let's get to the phones. Hi, you're on Orange Lounge Radio. Who's this?
Hello.
Oh my God, is that Marissa?
Yes.
Marissa.
Marissa, how you doing?
I have nothing productive to say. I just wanted to say hi.
Oh, that's okay.
Marissa, for you, I will stop writing my fanfic.
You can call in and talk about whatever the hell you want. You want to talk about the weather? You could probably even get away with talking about the Super Bowl on the show, and we wouldn't care.
Gasp!
Okay, but I still say that one of these days we're going to have to do a spin-off on the Voice of Games Network to have Rob and Marissa's giggle time.
Yes,
let's do it.
It's the Voice of Geeks. It's the Voice of Geeks Network, but that's okay.
It's the voice of giggling.
But I'm sorry, I brain my damage. I'm actually blonde. Don't tell anybody.
That's all right.
Except
That's
for
all
the
right.
internet.
Well, it originally. Well, I don't know how far it was. I think some people know this by now. I don't think it's because originally it was going to be the Voice of Games Network. So you might have heard about it when we were first planning it, but then we thought that wasn't inclusive enough of all the shows we wanted to represent, so we expanded it a little. So there you go. The definition of VOG changed before it launched.
I did remember that conversation a long time ago, but I'm also just blonde. So. But thank you for trying to bail me out. I really appreciate it.
I fucking tried, Marissa. I did. For you. I'm only here so I won't get fined.
Well, I'm sorry about backstory. I tried to get a guest on, but they had a tragedy. But if you're interested, I know we've gone back and forth, but I got my VO friends, and I know that they would love to call in if you're interested. And I can. I know we've talked back and forth about it casually, but if you're interested, I'd be happy to have a whole bunch of fun people call in.
I think the listeners would love to hear from some more people in the VO, especially some of the favorite voices from some of the video games they play. Or here's the thing with voice actors that I think people like fucking love to find out is that obviously the voice actors that are out there take on a lot of different projects. So to find out that like somebody who did this voice in this game is also this voice or this cartoon character from some beloved 80s or 90s cartoon is like a total trip, I think. I think people love to like see those connections. At least I do.
Right.
Maybe
it is an amazingly small world. Like trying to give an example with one of my friends. It's kind of obscure, but in Dishonored, one of the background, I forget the term for it, on the propaganda that you hear, that's a guy named Greg Berger. Uh-huh. He's also Eeyore and Orson on Garfield and Friends, who you're talking about.
Yeah.
The fun always surprises me is on the flip side, like he was one of the Raid ants, the Raid, like, or Rob Paulson, everybody knows who he is. You find out what they've done commercials, he's your friendly Honda dealer, so that's always it really surprises me because you can see people and then like I have an ear for Jim Cummings. Chris was playing any video game, like I'll even like be listening to music and I go Jim Cummings, but when you hear the voices, that ambient stuff you just hear every day too, that can always be really shocking. And they're not on screen all the time, so they're always really happy to talk to people.
No, my gosh, I mean, hell, we talk to gamers. As long as people have some type of passion for video games, whether it be the part of creating them or the part of playing them, it's a show where every gamer has a voice. So I think we want to hear from lots of voice actors who help make those games. I know we're going to be probably getting some bands on thanks to some of the connections I'm hopefully making next week, and some of the other stuff we've got brewing behind the scenes. I am all for more interviews and talking to more people. I think you guys like hearing them. Yeah, I think you guys liked hearing the interviews. So
I have a friend too that can also talk about. He does a lot of mocap, and so that means that you're no longer allowed to be ugly. So I'm like, I don't have a figure of a supermodel. Now this mocap stuff, shit.
Well, now a lot of that mocap stuff is like you wear that skin tight suit that has all the balls on it, and the mocap stuff captures the balls. But that's what it does.
Yeah, that is what he does. Yeah.
Yeah, I was having a friend tell me about some people that he knew that were mocapped for a sports game, for some of the, not one of the athletes, but some of the background people, and that was the whole process that went through. Kind of neat. So
yeah, it is crazy to watch the behind the scenes of that.
Mm-hmm. All right, well, Marissa, I look forward to trying to get some peeps from your community on the show, so we'll try to make that work in the coming weeks. But for now, I'm going to let you go so we can try to get some more calls. But anything to promote while you're here?
I have nothing to plug, but it was a fun show tonight. Thank you.
Thank you as always, Marissa. It's always good to hear from you. Remember, you can talk about anything you want.
Yay!
It's Marissa time.
Marissa, in your your very best announcer voice, say "but."
I'm John Bailey now. He's supposed to say boobs.
Yeah, but you have to
coming to you live, but.
It's much better when you do. Oh, next on Skinamax, Naughty Nurses.
Sorry, that's an old inside joke.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
All right, have a good night.
You too, Marissa. Bye. Oh my God, she's the best. I love that you try to make.
That was the guy on Awesome Video Game Trailers, by the way, who goes boobs like that.
Coming up next on Orange Lounge Radio, butts.
Because we're 5.
I think that's what I want for our 13th anniversary show. I just want a bunch of people to call in and say butts. That's it. And we'll just have a butts clip, and that'll be that.
And then we'll play girls' butts.
Like the Konami one, it had all the voice actors going, Konami, like that. We need butts.
I love it. Yes. Instead of that, it'll just be butts. Great. Print. All right, one last call for calls. 1-877-GAME-OLR or a username on Skype, Orange Lounge Radio, all one word. Fifth Dream in chat says Butts Lounge Radio. What's wrong with that? Nothing. Nothing is wrong with that. SSG 100 Matt says, I'll friend your butt. Based off that classic YouTube clip.
That was great. That moves me, Rob.
It does. All right. Put out one more call, and then I'm going to shut it down. We're going to end the show here tonight. But I guess I will start to wrap up here, and thank you guys very much for listening to the show tonight. I know a lot of you came out here live, despite the fact that there were big cultural phenomenon games going on out there in the world, but you chose to listen to OLR live instead. I really appreciate that. And you know what? Even if you were watching that game and you're listening to us on catch up on your podcast, we love the podcast listeners as well. So thank you guys very much for your support of the show. And you guys are awesome, and keep the show running. And if you like what you heard here at Orange Lounge Radio, all we ask, tell a friend or 5 about the show and help spread the word of the show where every gamer has a voice. We always appreciate that. Loki, do you have another thing to get out there before we sign off for the night?
I want to buy this.
What is it? What are you looking at over
They
there?
don't sell this, though. It's the Shield helicarrier in
What is
Legos.
that? Oh, God.
But it's huge. My son would love that thing. He would eat that up.
I need to get more Lego stuff. I keep saying that I want to build like 8-bit characters out of Legos because it's not that hard to do.
We have an extra DeLorean, I think.
Do you really?
Yeah, Dan would probably sell it to you for
I'd
a couple
recommend
hundred.
checking out there by my house. There's a store that sells Lego stuff. It's a Lego shop, and they sell bricks.
Like an official one?
No.
Oh,
it's like just some guy's shop that
that's pretty
all
cool.
he sells Lego
The
stuff.
official one is expensive. So if I can get like secondhand Legos, that would be awesome. I know you can like order the custom stuff online. Like you can build the Lego and then have them ship you whatever Legos it is to build your virtual creation.
God, that would be only super expensive.
Yeah, I know,
don't
right?
have 10 gallons of Legos at my house.
All right. Anyway, I guess it's going to do it for another episode of Orange Lounge Radio. So before we wrap up tonight,
they are selling it. It's going to be $350. Not buying it, but holy crap, does that look awesome.
I think I might have to invest. Not really, because we have an Ecto 1, and we have the DeLorean. And I think the next one's supposed to be, like, they're petitioning for it to be, oh, God, I forgot. Oh, the Turtles van is what they wanted to do.
Right.
So I want them to do a TARDIS, but
we'll see. All right. Well, we are going to wrap it up here at Orange Lounge Radio, but we can't roll the credit music until we go around and get everybody's final thought for the night. Let's see. My final thought for the night is I want Michelle Visage to win Celebrity Big Brother. And I also can't wait for RuPaul's Drag Race Season 7. Just saying. It's going to be awesome. That's my final thought tonight. Dark Soccer, your final thought tonight.
I finished a chapter, wrote a full chapter, and I'm halfway into another chapter. All done during breaks. I'm a writer.
Was that why you were so quiet tonight, Dark Soccer?
I've had the muse in my head. It's like when I was reading Harry Potter. You know, when I would just put the book down to do 5 lines of my story and then go back to reading Harry Potter. I just don't know. I will endeavor to be more attentive.
It's fine. And let's see. Last but not least, your final thought tonight, Loki.
I'm hopefully going to be having some playable stuff for my game this week. I'm so close to being done. I'm just trying to get the animation for the finished thing done, and then I just have to build something to save scores, but that'll be fast because I've done that before.
All right.
And then it's playable. Well, sort of. I mean, I just have to build levels then, and it's crazy shit.
All right. Well, thank you guys again for listening to Orange Lounge Radio. We will be back next week to do it all again with whatever should happen in gaming next week. Let's hope to hell, though, next week is a whole lot better than this week was. That's for sure. I want some good news to report on next week. Have a great week, everybody. Keep it classy. See ya.
You've been listening to Orange Lounge Radio. Orange Lounge Radio is a production of OLR Studios. To join us for a live show, tune into VogNetwork.com Sunday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern. The views and opinions expressed in this program do not necessarily reflect those of the staff of Orange Lounge Radio or VOG Network, but you know they were all still true. See you next week.